Everyone just have a preemptive wah, wah, wah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Pod of Exile podcast. I am here with my co-hosts, Sirgog, Dreamcore, and Lolcohol to discuss all things Path of Exile. Timestamps will be below, everybody. We're going to start with Path of Exile 2 discussion, go into Path of Exile 1 3.27 discussion, and then close out with some overall Grinding Gear games talk as well. Before we get into this topics, though, thank you so much to Mobalytics. We are juiced by them, and I just want to shout out. They've been Path of Exile 2 centric this entire runtime. They are adding Path of Exile 1 coming up very soon to their site, which is going to be very cool for us Mobalytics creators. So make sure when the new PoE1 League launches, you go check out their site and see if it applies to your use of builds and build crafting in the game itself. I'm sure these guys are going to have some of their builds on over there. So everybody, there's a lot of stuff going on in the Path of Exile world. Dreamcore, Path of Exile 2 0.3, it's winding down a little bit. I just wanted to start, I guess, by asking everybody, and beginning with you, how many characters did you play through 0.30? And what did you
remember your actions.
What did you end up enjoying the most about this expansion?
So I played two characters this league. I played one character that I just done everything on right at the start of the league, and then I had another character where I kind of got to end game and wasn't feeling it, right? Because the end game's just not there yet. And the character that I played the most is the gas grenade pathfinder, which was great, right? Just did everything, did all of the content.
Nice.
Honestly, this patch for me, I think the best thing was, the trading was asynchronous trading was amazing. But I typically don't play trade, but I did this patch, so that is right up there for me because I think that's a fantastic addition. But for me personally, it's the crafting.
Okay.
The crafting changes were just a huge win. Crafting was just so bad in PoE2 before that, right? It was really, really bad. And now now it might be too good. I don't really know, but I much prefer it to be in the place that it is now compared to what it was in 0.2. So that is a huge W.
Was it everything? Or everything combined, like essences, omens, the abyss stuff, or did one stand out to you in particular?
So I discussed this a bit on one of the other podcasts I was on. I actually think they done this really incredible job of combining the crafting mechanics. Like they've been so well thought out. Like it feels like none of the crafting mechanics are really stepping on each other's toes. Like you want different crafting mechanics for very specific things. And I mean, in PoE1, it is kind of the way like that. But over the years, there's been lots and lots of crafting mechanics to the point where you can actually do several of the crafts many different ways. And in PoE2, right now at least, I mean, I think it's going to go that way anyway, right? Because there's going to be more crafting things being added over time. But right now, it really feels like all of these crafting mechanics they added to the game are each doing their own kind of individual things, and they're very specialized in that thing. And then they come together to make that finished item. You know, you got the essences, very, very good in the early mid game there to secure yourself like 2 or 3 good mods on gear pieces. Then later on, they become very, very useful. The perfect ones are absolutely ridiculous, right? They're just so incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Then you have like even the desecration was another thing to just add a useful modifier in the campaign. But later on, it becomes this really powerful crafting tool. Once again, you can either replace a mod deterministically or whack on a final mod that's really useful for your build.
Yeah.
There's just and obviously the omens, some of the omens especially are just ridiculously powerful. But I think it's really nice that they seem to really think them out well, the crafting mechanics. So it's just great.
Yeah, definitely a lot of thought into them. And Lolcohol, do you agree? I know you were pumping out a lot of crafting videos. It seemed like it was really powerful for those with a lot of knowledge. Do you think they moved in a good direction with crafting 0.3?
Yeah. It's so much better. And the question is, what's it going to look like when Abyss isn't core, though? Because a lot of the stuff revolved around Abyss, and we're getting that in every zone. So there's a lot of those materials. So hopefully that's something different. But like what Dream was saying, the way they've somehow integrated them into one another, so it's not just these discrete systems that never overlap. They made it in such a way that they interact, and that there's what I really love is when there's a puzzle that can be solved, and there are multiple ways to do it. But the fun thing is figuring out like, wait, I could do it like this, or I could do it like this, and then you start thinking like, oh wait, but hold on, if I do this and this and this, and then like all kind of comes together. That moment when you finally where it all clicks with a specific craft, that's what I love about crafting in PoE 1, and then we got that same feeling now in PoE 2. So it's such a big improvement.
Sirgog, are you a fan of how they have approached crafting where you can only, for the most part, you can only find specific powerful omens in Ritual, and the bones are only found in Abyss? You have to engage with all these different systems to find these materials. This is a goal I think they were wanting with 4.0 or Path of Exile 2, and so far they're sticking to it. It's not like PoE 1 where for the longest time the best way to get fossils was for me at least, it was like just running like Delirium or something and just getting a crap load of fossils from Deliria. What do you think about their approach so far in PoE 2?
I would actually like something in between where there is a clear best spot to get everything, but it's not the only spot. So my thought would be, like, if you, let's take for instance the Prime Resonator from Path of Exile 1, the 4-socket Resonator from Delve. I would like a situation where someone that's dedicated to Delve is getting, I don't know, 3 Prime Resonators an hour, and someone that is not dedicated to Delve is doing something quite general like Legion, might be getting 1 of them every 6 hours. So there's a clear, if you run Delve, you're going to get 20 times as many of these. But if there's just a section of the game you don't like, obviously you can I play trade generally, so you can bypass this anyway. But if there's a section of the game you just genuinely don't like, you don't feel the pressure to engage in it. That would be my preference. That said, I prefer the way they've got 030 to when they have just gotten that balance completely wrong. And the best way to get Delve materials is to run the simulacrum.
Right. I vividly remember that in Path of Exile 1. Yeah, a good middle ground approach. I wonder if that'll come in once they have more leak mechanics into the game, when, as opposed to what, the 5 that there are now in Path of Exile 2, there's 20. Maybe they'll start interspersing them all throughout. So if there is that one thing that you just hate, like a Delve. I mean, Delve is a standout because it's such a different system, I think, from the rest of Path of Exile 1. So I guess it kind of made sense that they made fossils available everywhere else. I, for one, I know this is going to be slanderous. Don't attack me. Not a Delve fan. I've never used a resonator. Can you guys believe that?
What the?
You've never used a resonator.
I know. I had this revelation when it was the DM's video. Everybody was like, Delve in 0.4. And I thought, man, what have I done in Delve? Okay, I've done it for some challenges. Have I used a resonator? How do you use a resonator? I don't even know. So it's pretty wild. I know. Am I even a true PoE player? Don't
Try.
know.
Here's some homework for you, right? Here's some homework for you. Learn all the ins and outs of tangled fossils. They are super esoteric, super weird, but they are cool. They are just a fun toy to play around with. They're dirt cheap, and because no one really has powerhouse uses for them, but they can do some cool stuff. And just mess around with them and see if you can find something fun. Or alternately, the other one that's bad that does have some uses is the bloodstained fossil.
Okay. I'll check them out. I got to get well versed in Delve because it's totally coming next PoE 2 patch. So I got to be top of the mind. Okay.
Fossils have been really good in PoE 1, especially the last like 3 leagues or something. They're just like the way to craft.
Oh, good. I had to hold back some profit crafts this league because they were just so unbelievably so profitable, just using like very, very small fossil combos.
Really like basic stuff, and you just
unbelievable. Like if you ever see a fossil and you're like, why is that one 10 chaos orbs? It's because there is a craft that is someone is like pumping out something that is worth 50 divines every 3 minutes.
Yeah, so I just do like in SSF, like, because I'm not really a huge Delve fan either. Like playing through Delve, I don't mind it. Like sometimes I get the itch to do Delve and I'll just be playing it, but most of the time I don't play it. And then I'll get my fossils from like Legion and Delirium, whatever else, and then I'll just farm harvest and swap them all over to dense fossils and craft all my gear like that.
Yep.
That's just
all right.
Of course, you can't get 4-socket resonators outside Delve now.
Yeah.
There you go.
You can.
Oh.
You can get them
I
from
think
Ritual.
daily rewards and ritual, right?
can you get
I
them
know
from
there is
Delhi?
some place.
I remember.
I think you can get it from.
I definitely got a 3-socket 100 because I had a
Three
3-socket
is
this
fine.
last league from something, and I didn't do that once.
No, I'm pretty sure you can get it from ritual, and I think also daily rewards with
It
fossils
might just be
if
really
you daily
rare.
them out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a jackpot drop, you know?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're not
exactly,
that
for that.
uncommon if you're juicing
Yeah.
really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were much
Anyway.
more valuable when they were only behind fractured walls.
Super valuable.
Oh my god, you guys. One of the only things that I looked up how to do in Path of Exile 1 all those years ago. Holy crap, I could not figure out fractured walls for the life of me. I just couldn't.
No one could.
Dude,
There were-
what is this? Right.
A million Reddit posts. What's a fractured wall? How do I find it?
I couldn't find, and then
The
I would find it
134
on the map, and I'd be like,
Huh?
is there really one there? I don't know.
The 134 rule in Delve is really convoluted. Like the whole nodes will not have exactly 2 exits except in extremely weird circumstances.
Yeah.
I gotta get
But the
practice
fact
on
that
them.
those exceptions exist makes it so much more confusing.
100%. Okay, circling back to Path of Exile 2, Sirgog, same question posed to you. How many characters did you get through the League 0.3, and what was your overall favorite addition or change in the third
Right.
edict?
So I played 2 characters, and my overall favorite is got to be Act 4. I think it's just the vibe of Act 4 is fantastic. I reserve judgment. I might change my mind once I've played through it 12 or 15 times. But for the moment, Act 4 is just atmospheric, fantastic. Like all the zones are great. And there's also just a few cool little Easter eggs that aren't important. They don't have much replay value, but like that expedition on the island from the treasure map, that is just a cool thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be good. It's just something that's just a lot of fun the first time you encounter it. And yeah, that sort of stuff that's the really highest high point out of Third Edict for me.
Do you enjoy the zone layouts? You said you like the areas. They're I think much more linear than pretty much all Act 2, Act 3. They're shorter, right? And they're also distinct too. It really leads to that feel of exploration in Act 4, and nothing feels the same, right? I enjoy that.
The variance is huge. That's why I find with Path of Exile 1, if I'm doing the same map over and over again, I will start to burn out. Whereas when you've got some variety, even if it's just 4 or 5 different tile sets, that's fine. And Act 4 captures the variety, but without pushing you into horrible zones like the what's the name of that zone off the underground area off the first zone past the city in Act 3.
Underground zone in Act 3.
Venom Crypts. Yeah.
Venom
Oh.
Crypt, yeah. Terrible
Wait.
zones like that.
What?
Yeah, that place is.
What? Venom Crypt Slander? I think I
Yes,
finished
I
that
will
zone
slander
in
Venom Crypt.
20 seconds. I think I had the best seed of it. Like, I literally just instantly found the quest reward. It was crazy this league.
Sometimes it is
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
But the only reason I slander the Venom Crypts is because they deserve it.
Yep.
It's always also got all those poison projectile monsters, and you don't have any chaos res, and you're just getting eviscerated. It's great. It's great. Okay. Oh, I got a shout out to Lolcohol since we're talking about Venom Crypts and adjacent areas. Excellent clip of you getting slammed by the monkey on a warrior this league, by the way. If anybody hasn't seen it, Lolcohol got, well, how long was it, man? How many deaths? Like,
we didn't count. No one kept track. I have no idea.
over. Oh, but you feel the warrior pain now a little bit, even though I don't think it's a warrior thing. I just think people's brains off when they see the monkey. I don't know, guys.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was just fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I in terms of the builds I played the Grenade Deadeye, which was
Right.
excellent. And then I went to the Reap build, that was really fun. But it's sort of like a trample toe delivery system,
Right.
where but it's such a satisfying build. It's so much fun and so many cool crafts and just fun build. And then we can speak about it in a bit. But after 3.1 dropped, 0.3.1, the end game felt so weird that we made a private league, and that was when I leveled that warrior that got kind of monkeyed, and warrior was actually really, really fun, like super, super fun, unexpectedly fun. But there were look, I'm not going to blame the monkey. It was skill issue, okay, but there were some compounding factors that made that situation worse than it needed to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Elaborate.
Which
what else? Come on.
elaborate?
Yeah. What compounding factors?
Well, okay, so
go for it.
I guess I'll segue us. Okay, so my favorite addition to 0.3 was the shark fin quest. That one was really cool, like the boss fight, and then like the quest reward. So interesting. Other than that, the crafting was pretty good. Sorry, that was way too dry. What is up with the shark fin quest, man? That is.
I knew
that's
it was
the
a joke.
only
You know,
bad thing.
The crazy thing about the shark fin is, on my first playthrough, I actually got the shark fin right before the zone that I needed to take it, so I didn't carry it around at all, right? And this was totally random. I wasn't watching anyone's streams or anything.
Yeah.
I just interacted and got the shark fin literally before the zone that I had to go to and give it to get the quest reward, right? And then I hear that people are like carrying it around for the entirety of Act 4. I'm like, what's going on here?
I had it for so long, and then you
Yeah,
finally hand it
same.
in, and it's like, here's a support gem, and you're like, what? I thought I was gonna get something cool. But yeah, the rest of Act 4 is beautiful, brilliant, and then the crafting is really good. But then, should I skip to the next topic? Topic number 9.
Sure.
Because it does
Before
come.
you-
Go for it.
Yeah,
before
yeah,
you
go
do,
for it.
The one thing I would say about crafting is that there's a part of me that thinks if the Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation was slightly weaker, I think things might be more interesting. If instead of absolutely banning everything that is not, so instead of being infinitely more likely to roll mods that are matched, if it was much more likely, like the old much more likely in Harvest, which was 90 times more likely. I just feel like things might be more interesting. That Omen could be maybe slightly more common and also slightly weaker. I don't know. I'm not certain on that, but I feel like more frequent crafting and less determinism might be more interesting than what we've got at the moment, or it might work the other way. I'd like to try it from.
It's the homogenizing exaltation is carrying the crafting super hard though, and I doubt it's gonna stay like that. The perfect essences are also excellent, and a lot of the like sinistral and dextral omen of crystallization are really, really strong. But those are really cool. There's so many cool tricks you can do, and then homogenizing exaltation over. I don't want to say overpowered, but it's compensating for a comparatively sparse system compared to what we have in PoE1. So I think it needs to be as strong as it is. As the system develops more, the crafting system, I don't think there'll need to be something that strong. But that item is fairly easy to balance. One thing is in the private league, those things were so rare. If you're in trade league, you're getting you've got them just an infinite number basically. In SSF, those make a lot more sense because they're so uncommon. I got to like level 90. I didn't find one. Everyone in the private league was trying to do ritual tablets to get homogenizing exaltation. So
it's King in the Mist that drops them mostly.
Mostly, yeah. But
I found one.
You do find them in ritual.
I found one on a level 94 character. I was doing ritual the whole time. It came out of a ritual window. Just one. Done King in the Mist quite a few times as well.
I probably found about, I don't know, less than 10. I did do ritual for a couple of days for like super juice ritual, and they were not that uncommon, but you can't really do super juice ritual in SSF very easily. So yeah, that's. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I still wonder about omens, them being tied to a specific system versus, again, like people always have meltdowns when I bring up like the crafting bench, but it is, the omens kind of are compensating for that. It's like having the meta crafting in an external system rather than a global system. which simultaneously functions as a currency sink, which prevents massive inflation of exalted orbs and stuff like that. So we'll see. But overall, like I'm at the point I don't even want scours.
Whoa!
Scours.
Character development.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Character development.
Like
crazy.
alts would be nice to have, but I don't need them.
I
Whoa.
will say that exalts are definitely they're just too common to be worth anything. They're the alchemy orbs of this game. Alchemy is in Path of Exile 1. That doesn't mean they're bad. Alchemy orbs have a very important role in Path of Exile 1, or orbs of binding, or all those other low end currencies, but they are not end game loot, and that's fine. It just means that people need to start trading in chaos instead of in exalts, because chaos orbs do have endgame utility, whereas exalts, yes, they have endgame utility, but you oversustain them.
Yeah, that's true. Like maybe people's mindset just needs to shift, because we like PoE modern players are like exalts are special, but in PoE 2 they're not really. In the same way that like chaos orbs aren't special in PoE 1, but they are in PoE 2. Yeah.
I mean, in 1 they're useful. They're just there's just so many of them going around that ultimately I always think of them as 1/5 of a heist benchcraft.
Yeah.
Or 1/3 of a settler's benchcraft, or whatever the actual numbers are.
2 follow-ups on omens. The discussion we've been having, I mean, since launch is 1, they are too rare. Do you guys think the rarity is in a better spot now? I know we were just talking about how that 1 is basically inaccessible in SSF, but if GGG is balancing for trade, are they in a much better spot now, you think?
I think we need to test this with a new league start now that people know how good homogenizing exaltation is. It's like, okay, it is not in the rarest category of omens. So I've just brought up in the background the list of the omens by rarity. I had it and then I've just clicked on something else. Let me just find it back again. But we're looking at Mythic Rare is Sinistral Erasure, Dextral Erasure, Sinistral Annulment, Dextral Annulment, Omen of Chance. Then we have Rare is Homogenizing Coronation, which no one really talks about. That's the Regal Orb rigged. That is really good. That one is really good.
That is super strong. Yeah.
Yeah. Omen of Whittling is in the rare category.
Oh wow. What?
Yeah, that's been buffed. Omen of the Blessed is rare. Oh, and sorry, I forgot to mention Omen of Sanctification is mythic. Dextral Crystallization, Sinistral Crystallization are rare. Recombination is rare. And then we have this sort of tier that's quite a bit more common than rare. And this is where Corruption, Sinistral Exaltation, Dextral Exaltation, Homogenizing Exaltation unexpectedly, Catalyzing Exaltation, Chaotic Rarity, Chaotic Monsters, and Omen of the Ancients. Like, there's quite a few in that. And then there's the common tier, which is Resurgence, Refreshment, Gambling, Bartering, Greater Exaltation.
From my I got a lot of those this league. I didn't know Chance were mythic. Do those sell for a lot? I think I have 3 of those in my stash. Oh my god!
You do not have
Are you
3
sure?
of the Chance. That's the one that guarantees a specific unique. There are 2 things that modify Chance Orbs. One of them is it's guaranteed not to be destroyed, but it may not be the same base. So you use it on a heavy belt and like an Indian belt. And then there's the one that says it will be the same base as well. That's the one that's mythic rare.
I will
trash a treasure type thing.
I will ping you. I think I got a double drop in an abyssal depth of the Omen of Chance. So
really?
Yeah, I'll send a screenshot after. I'm pretty sure. But I didn't think I don't know, my mind just went, oh, it's like a chance orb, right? And I just threw it into my stash.
Huh. I still think that they mix up the tooltip text for Omen of the Ancients and Omen of Chance. Because Omen of Chance says, while this is active in your inventory, your next Orb of Chance will not destroy the item, which kind of sounds like what an Omen of the Ancient does. And it doesn't say, Omen of Chance doesn't say anything about like maintaining the base type. Whereas the other one implies,
does, right, automatically.
Yeah. Well, it just says it doesn't destroy it, whereas Omen of the Ancients says while it's active in your inventory, your next Orb of Chance will upgrade the item to a random unique of the same item class. I'm almost certain they've got those back to front.
I think they're just saying because the normal Chance Orb can't change the base.
Mm.
So
Exactly.
they're just
It's giving
saying
it
that they're
permission
saying
to
that it
do
can't
something
break
weaker.
and therefore it must upgrade.
Yeah. So one of
But
them is trash to treasure, and the other one is
Got
trash
it.
to treasure, except you have the permission to become a different base,
Right.
which is actually weaker, even though
Yeah.
it's adding more. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now the other thing with omens too is that they're all locked to ritual, which obviously with this league changed, right? There are omens to do with like abyssal crafting, right? Do you think that was a little bit of an experiment to perhaps make this a global system, adding different omen types to various everywhere that there's crafting, essentially? Or maybe this was just a one-off because they it fits with Abyss, what we're trying to do with desecrated modifiers and the bones. It just made sense to put them in there. What do you guys think will
well,
happen with that?
I think Lolcohol like touched on this with the whole crafting bench. Essentially, omens being a replacing of the crafting bench. This is exactly what they're going for in PoE2. They want to keep familiarity between the crafting mechanics so that people know how omens work. Like they already know that this is a thing that I have to activate in my inventory, and then I have to follow the steps of whatever it's doing. So they'll add different omens. I think we can expect to see a lot of different omens. I think going forward from different league mechanics where they make sense.
Totally
And for the
agree.
ones that are on Abyss, like they just make sense to be there because they're part of the Abyss crafting rather than like a generic thing. So I expect to see more and more of those. They're basically just this thing that players will learn over time. Like they know what omens are. That's just part of the mechanic.
Right. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I agree.
And I think the thing that's cool about omens, instead of the crafting bench, is the way you're able to combo them, which also makes them really strong. And you can like do 3, 4, whatever, as many as you want at the same time to alter their effects. So I think it has, even though I say the crafting bench is like a similar, more obvious system, it doesn't necessarily have the same potential. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with omens.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah, I
hard.
think the omens is something that couldn't work with a crafting bench either, because
Mm.
could you imagine if you deterministically temporarily added low tier fire resistance onto a ring, and then you use that in order to homogenizing Exalt or even homogenizing Coronate, something
Yeah,
far superior.
it's way too strong.
Like that sort of thing is just going to end up with like it's just you're following a recipe book at that point. You're not. There's no RNG involved. It's just collect these 15 items. Boom.
Right.
There's your end game, irreplaceable, forever item piece.
I don't really feel like they need. Earlier on in PoE2's development, I felt like they needed the crafting bench, but what I think they need now more than anything to like solve that early problem, because now it's less of a late game problem because they have like all of the crafting tools in place, and now I feel like the lack of a crafting bench is actually only a very early game problem where you drop the wrong runes, you don't have enough sockets, that kind of stuff, right? So
Yes.
I think that's like one of the only things they need to address now is like. I don't really know. I feel like one thing that would be really nice is a way to like offset rune RNG early on in the game where you can trade runes for another rune that you need or some kind of system like that, because it feels like you do get enough runes, but you don't get enough of the right runes.
Yeah.
Is what's
Yeah.
happening, right?
We have a couple of
Blank.
vendor recipes that do that in
Yeah,
PoE1.
could you literally just do blank runes? Like you change all of them to blank runes, and then you either trade them into a vendor, or when you use them, you choose which.
Yeah,
you
like
want.
right click it,
Yeah.
take it to Renly. Or what were you saying, Gog?
Well, I was saying like PoE1 has the vendor recipes like Ready Amulet in PoE1. Okay, sure, you need a Strength Amulet and a Dex Amulet, but you can then get those two plus Transmute Ore, but you have to know that recipe exists. But there's also a whole bunch of more commonly used ones, like the Sapphire Ring one is really commonly used for people that want a little bit extra defensive power going into Mavale, all those sorts of things. Now, that's very esoteric and hidden in PoE1. But in PoE2, like I feel like you could have a situation where the lowest 2 tiers of runes are generic, and then after that you get specific.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea actually. Yeah, that way you don't offset the balance in the end game, and you can still keep like rare runes that are more valuable, like greater iron runes and stuff like that. Especially early on in the league, they're quite valuable.
Yep.
You can just like maintain that system whilst also solving that problem, because that really does feel like where that issue still exists is in the early game when you don't feel like you're getting the right runes.
Yeah.
They
And
do
that's
they do this with a quest, right? You get a blank rune from
Exactly.
Remy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just
Yep.
make that the first 2 tiers. I think that's a good solution.
Yeah, they already have it in the game. So
Yeah. Sorry, Lolcohol, what were you going to say?
No, I was kind of gonna skip ahead because this is you've got on our topic list overall worst part of the update.
Oh, hop in, Lolcohol. What is
And
it?
that's kind of what Dream was talking about. I still think one of the biggest problems is just having a more a more linear character development in terms of power, where it feels like currently there's so much spike and then drop off and then spike and drop off. Like you get a good weapon and now you're killing everything, and then you don't get a good weapon and then you're dying to monkey 12 times on Twitch because you're using a level 12 shield because every single alchemy you used didn't upgrade. Every single vendor you checked every time you leveled up and you did not get an upgrade. You gambled every single last drop of gold. You didn't get an upgrade. You picked up, identified, used a transmute org on every single shield. This is on a shield wall build, so my shield is my damage, and it wasn't an upgrade. And now I am level 34 with a level 12 shield because I could not find an upgrade. And that is so frustrating. Where it's like I'm doing everything right, and I'm just getting unlucky, and I'm getting like really punished for it. Not just like a little bit punished. It's like now everything is a struggle. And there are ways around this. Like this is why people tend to lean toward these like ultra meta builds that are less they don't feel this as much. If you're playing like a grenade build or like a bow build, you can really get away with like very, very old, out of date gear and you don't feel it. The moment you're on like something less optimal, it is brutal, man. It is so rough. And I think just like redistributing power on support gems, tree, ascendancy, and stuff like runes, like what Dream was saying. And then I think last podcast, Sirgog had a really interesting idea, which was increasing the base values on weapons and items and stuff, and then reducing the explicit percent increases so that there's just like a more stable foundational number.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then you have a problem where every base is just like going to be so much better than the next one that you're going to always upgrade. So I just think that's like one of the biggest things that needs to happen now, because like I guarantee you there are like thousands of people who hate Path of Exile 2 now just because they probably got a bit unlucky. And they're like, this game sucks. I hate this. Like this is trash. Whereas if they had got that lucky drop, they would be like, oh, I love this game. It's great.
I want to just touch on that and then we can hop to the other people. I see that so often because, for example, I don't have a large sample size of characters, and it doesn't sound like many of us do. Like we played maybe 1 to 3 characters this league, right? If you play, let's say, one character all the way through to end game, okay? And that is what you're basing your experience on, and you got lucky, you probably had like a really swell time. Maybe you had a little bit of struggles, but most of the time you were able to overcome them by getting that lucky drop, getting a good item. And I'll share that, and I'll get people who are just like, this is the worst game ever. I died to every boss. I upgraded. I went to the shop whenever I could, and I just had the worst time. What game are you playing? And I think it's because of that exact thing. Because the early game progression is so dependent on you getting, I think it's just a weapon. I don't even think it's good. Like defenses, you can mostly, dodge away or just outskill. Well. Yeah, right? So great point, Lolcohol. Sirgog, Dream, did you guys have anything to add on to it?
Well, just adding on to that, there's another way things can go wrong as well, which is that you can feel like things are patronizingly easy if you do get one of those miracle drops. And my experience at the start of this league was that basically Act 2, I got a miracle drop weapon. And I was just on God mode for most of Act 2. And then it starts to fall behind the curve, like 4 or 5 zones into Act 3. And then I just can't get a replacement. I literally do not get a replacement until I'm in Act 4, because with asynchronous trade, no one's answering on the old trade system. And so the times that I do try and trade through the old system, no one responds. So I'm basically stuck with my Act 2 miracle weapon all the way through to the first part of Act 4. And it's just this sharp gulf where you go from being, it is so easy that I'm falling asleep, to this is the Goldilocks zone, to I am really starting to struggle on these bosses even though I know them. I think my Jamandra fight was like 6 minutes 30 or 7 minutes or so. And that sort of gives you a sense as to just how far behind my damage was. And that's the weapon that I used all through Act 3 because I couldn't replace it.
Wow. That's
It was
crazy.
fun though. Honestly,
This is something I
Jamandra is
touched
so
on in
fun.
I touched on that in my gear power video, which I think was the biggest problem that I brought up of all of them. It's the thing where like it's not necessarily a luck thing. I mean, obviously luck has a huge part to play, but it's also like a knowledge barrier, because if new players are playing this game, right, you compare it to an experienced player and then someone who's like very, very good at the game as well. You're going to find that there's like this huge gap where if the player who's new doesn't get lucky, like you guys were saying there, and get like a good drop, the players who are experienced can offset that, that streak of bad luck by using their materials correctly, checking the vendor, getting a weapon upgrade from the vendor, getting boots upgrade from the vendor, this kind of stuff, and knowing when to do that, and knowing when it's actually good to get an upgrade and when to sort of pass on it and carry on progressing. So that is also part of the problem there that Lolcohol was getting to, which is the gear power is just too much of a character's overall power compared to all of the other sources of power that they can get power from, like the tree and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the idea of blank runes would definitely play a bit of a part in that, because you would have at least some power coming from some extra blank runes there that you could use, like the ones that you actually want. But that's would only be a partial solution. They absolutely need to do something about gear power, I think, and remove some of that power elsewhere. I'm not really sure what the solution is to that, because in the campaign it's not always like I highlighted the gem levels modifier in my video, because I think that's actually one of the absolute worst modifiers, because it's just like it's this one modifier on like 6 affix item that's giving you like 50% more damage or some ridiculous number, right? But it's not just that modifier, right? It's a combination of all these things coming together that's just like a ridiculous multiplier of your damage, and then the other parts of a character power, like the tree and stuff, is just not contributing enough. So
I think it
they
is the
need to do
gem
something
level
about
is the decisive
that.
one.
That is definitely, it's a big one, yeah.
Because I want you to imagine this scenario, right? You're playing as a veteran player, and you pick up a weapon that has, let's say you're in an area where +3 is expected. You pick up a +3 weapon with one other good mod on it. Everything else is dead. You're going to look at that and you're going to go, hey, this is a big upgrade. This is jumping me up from my 3 mod +1 weapon. This is a big improvement to what I had. What's a casual player's view going to be? They're going to be like, oh, it's only got 2 mods on it. Everything else is trash. I'm not going to use that. I'll keep using my +1 because the +1's got other mods on it. And they're just going to misidentify it because that mod is so central. I would love to see that mod divided by the values on it divided by 5 and fractional to work. So you just have an exponential curve. You can easily extrapolate that to fractional values, divide it by 5, and then that power that's taken away just nerf monsters comparably.
Why not why not rebalance the scaling on gems? Put some of that power. I think another major problem is support gem downsides, where there are, if you look at so many support gems, it's like more damage, but by the way, you now attack 10% slower. And like put 4 of those on a skill, and now it's like, okay, it does more damage, but you attack slower, and you can't crit, and you move slower, and this, and then it's like, okay, cool. But you do that and then it's on the skill tree where it's you have 40% increased melee damage, but you attack 10% slower, and it's that's everywhere. It's everywhere. Like, get rid of that shit. Reduce the numbers on skill gems so that plus gem levels aren't as impactful, and then like another thing, have it so that gems can level up, so you can do sort of I don't know what you call it, but you stay in the same area and like overgear and overlevel a bit, and then you move on. That feels like a foundational ARPG thing to me of like, before I move on to hell, I'm gonna do like 100 Nightmare Mephisto runs or whatever, and just like overgear. But I don't feel like you can do that because your like gem level is locked to the area. You won't find that. So
I disagree on that. Your gem level catches up. Like, okay, let's say that you are failing Jemana in Act 2, right? You can get level 9 gems from Jemana's zone and the previous zone, but prior to that, it's only 8. What you've got probably at the time you attempted Jemana is 1 level 9 gem, and everything else is 8. So you fail. You go back through the Dreadnought, you build up a little bit more power, you go back to Jemana, and now you're decked out in 4 level 9s and 2 level 8s in your gems. You also have a couple more support gems. Maybe one of them is going to get you over the line. You know, you are definitely going to be stronger when you go back there. I think item level being absolutely deterministic is a little bit problematic. Like, maybe it would be good if rare monsters had a 5% chance to drop a substantially higher item level item there, so that you could potentially get one of those drops.
That's only if you fail in the Dreadnought, though, right? Like, if you fail on Jumonra, then you're just going to reset Jumonra and you're not getting anything.
I'm only talking if you feel like you're outclassed on Jemana and you feel like you've got a power.
Yeah. But that's like, if you're experienced, you'll probably do that, go back. But I'm not sure if a newer player probably just would carry on like just running at the boss right until they get it. I wanted to touch a bit on the gem levels modifier, because this is actually a bit of a broader problem, I think. So the idea that the gem level modifier exists on weapons and on caster, weapons like staffs and things like that, is a direct problem for GGG when it comes to their design space for unique items. A huge problem, actually. They try to design like compelling weapons, and like, for example, they have the Last Lament, right, which is actually a really cool weapon. Being able to design interesting weapons that people want to actually use in the end game is really difficult with the power level of crafted items that exist, right? Because of those gem level modifiers. And this is not exclusive to just that. I actually brought this up in another podcast about the Lich's node, the Eternal Life node, right? Your life cannot change while you have Energy Shield. Cool modifier. Like, this is actually one of the best modifiers I've seen between PoE 1 and PoE 2. It is absolutely awesome. I love it. Like, it's such a cool design. But it is extremely limiting to their design space, because they can no longer add Energy Shield bypass modifiers to the game because Lich exists. Right? So Lich exists, and therefore every other class in the game can no longer really overly invest into this mechanic because it doesn't exist and cannot exist. Right? Because this is a stacking additive damage reduction modifier for the Lich only. So this is a bit of a design problem, I think, that happens, and it's on a few other classes as well. We've got the Rich List. Okay, you just have a 3rd ring slot, right? That suddenly means that they are kind of somewhat limited in what they can put on rings going forward because that class exists. Because now they need to be mindful that there's a class that can get a 3rd ring, and if that's the case, then I mean, we already have it right now in PoE 2. If you want to build a mana stacker, it's a Rich List. If you want to build a stat stacker, it's a Rich List, because that's just that class has an extra gear slot, and you get so much power from that extra gear slot. So this is not an isolated problem. I think it's actually quite a broad problem, but that is something that I'd like to see them address over time. I don't want to see too much of that on classes, because it really does limit them, and also it makes it so that every build on one particular class is very, very similar in terms of what they're doing, because they kind of have to do it. It's like on the Lich, I'm using the Eternal Life node. I have to do that because that is my damage reduction for that build. That's my defensive setup, right? And then it's kind of similar on those other classes. So that is something that I think is a little bit of an issue that's going on right now in PoE 2.
I think that's a great point. And I mean, we've elaborated quite a bit on Lolcohol's worst part of the patch, but we need to linger on it because I need your worst part of the patch, Sirgog and Dreamcore. So we talked about the best stuff. We've talked a lot about this gear problem or this power progression issue early game. What do you think the worst part of the patch is?
Yeah,
go on. You go first.
Oh, okay. I think I'm going to go very similarly. I'm going to say that it's forced mods on items and the way that unique items have been crushed under the weight of the additional power of crafting. Like there are some really cool unique items in PoE 2, and you're just never going to see any of them equipped almost. There are exceptions, but most of them are just not equip worthy because there are 3 slots you cannot use an item that don't have the appropriate stat in. You must get plus gem levels on your amulet, you must get plus gem levels on your weapon, and you must get movement speed on your boots. If
Right.
an item doesn't have a decent tier of those mods, then it's not loot.
Yeah.
PoE 1 has this problem as well with boots, but it's just not the same. Be right back. I'm getting a drink.
All good. I've used so few unique items in Path of Exile 2 so far. I used Hoa in 0.1 along with Ingenuity, and then in 0.2, Tangle Tongue. Aside from that, man, my builds have just been exclusively rares. Like my my Hollow Palm Monk, all rares. I don't know if there's a single unique that might fit well except for Thunderfist, but even Thunderfist, I don't get my plus melee skills on my gloves. So, you know, why would I equip that?
I feel like there's a missing spot in PoE 2 for those like mid-level uniques, like mid-tier gear uniques. Like in the early game, there are a few uniques that you can kind of put on, and they often get replaced quite quickly. And then you have some very strong ones for the late game for a complete build, right? Like this is something that the build relies on. Like I just touched on the Last Lament, right, which is a build in and of itself. But in the mid game, there's a lack of like unique items that are actually quite good that you feel like you want to put on like at the start of maps or something like that. That is something, or even towards the end of the campaign. I think of things like Cloak of Flame in PoE 1, right? That sort of stuff. Like, I mean, Cloak of Flame is there in PoE 2, but I don't know. It does feel like there's a lack of that in PoE 2, like a lack of good uniques for each kind of part of player progression.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Dream, what was your worst aspect of it?
I think for me it is like the whole balance of the game right now. It kind of puts me off quite a lot. Just
Okay.
just the feeling of like some builds just melt a boss in 2 seconds. Other builds are like really struggling like crazy. Like even if you have a fairly similar gear level, like there's a huge difference there at the moment. And when you reach the end game on those builds, the melting things, like my build was melting everything. I know Lolcohol's build was melting everything as well. It doesn't feel like there's that much challenge. Like even you get to like the pinnacles, like tier 1, 2, 3 pinnacles, those things just die instantly, like with good gear. So I feel like they need to do, and obviously balance in terms of skill balance and things like that. That is going to be, we're going to have a situation like this in PoE 2 for a while yet.
Yeah.
So strap in, guys, because this is what it's going to be like for a while, right? Because they're constantly adding new classes and things like that to the game. They're adding new acts with new monsters, and there's new skills coming in and whatever. It's going to be imbalanced for a while. But I'm more talking about like the core balance of like player power versus monsters. That's kind of what I'm getting to there. What I feel like is that bosses are one of the more interesting things in the PoE 2 right now. But or at least they should be, and they're not. Right? That's how I feel like. I don't feel very excited to do a boss fight because the boss just instantly dies before doing any mechanics, or it's like a complete slog if you don't have the good gear. Right? It feels like there's not really that in between. Like it doesn't really exist. Like obviously it does exist if you have the exact right gear level, you can actually get that experience that they were really driving for there. But most of the time it's like you're playing a good build, bosses just instantly die, and you know, especially like grenades are just insane.
Yeah.
Grenades need to be nerfed. They're so strong. Just absolutely melt everything.
In 030, I'd totally agree with you on the boss front too. So the game was pretty easy even for me. Playing Hollow Palm, I don't think I had the best gear, but I was melting all the bosses. Basically nothing was a challenge really. 031, I don't know how much you guys played. At least for my character, it turned boss fights into actual encounters. But I'm not doing 20 million DPS or anything like that. I think powerful map bosses, just T15, T16, they had between like 12 and 16 million hit points. And that turned the fights into literally like about a minute and a half, 2-minute encounters. I really enjoyed that balance. It was that ping-ponging of, okay, you're zooming through a map, kind of blowing up Abyss, blowing up all these packs, and now that every map has a boss, at the end, it's an actual combat experience, which I actually kind of liked. it was I think better than the line they were towing before, which was just zooming through everything. Honestly, in 030, you're blowing up abysses, you're blowing up bosses in 10 seconds, and that mildly that upset me, even though I was having a blast. Like, I've played this league more than I have any other Path of Exile patch, and I swear it's more like Path of Exile 1 than Path of Exile 2 was promised to be. But I was having a blast. So I feel like they've kind of addressed that, but probably not for your build though, dude, because I saw you were destroying everything. If you're like Lolcohol's build, or like you said, a top meta build, and you're doing millions of damage a second, you're never gonna see those boss mechanics. Is that ever gonna be something feasible? Like,
well, that's
I'm so
okay. So that's being able to melt bosses should be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it shouldn't be a thing,
right.
but right now it's too easy to get there.
Okay.
So
Right.
that kind of balance is there. Like, this happens in the campaign, right? You get a good weapon, you just insta melt bosses. You know, you see builds in PoE 1 that just melt bosses and do ridiculous levels of content. Those builds, like in the end game, they are giga builds, right? Like, they have mega investment. They are crazy. Right now, that's not really the case in PoE 2. It feels like
Right.
you can melt bosses on about 60% gear, maybe even 50% gear. Like, you're just gonna melt them, right? If you know what you're doing and you know what skills to use and things like that, you are
Right.
just gonna absolutely destroy bosses. And I'd like it to be the other way around, where like I can be a little bit more like, you know, when it comes to maps, like normal monsters in maps, I feel a bit more free to you know, clear the map, whatever. When I get to the boss, it's a little bit more interesting. You know,
Yeah.
you actually get to see some boss mechanics, that sort, because that's what they were going for, right, with PoE 2. Like, they designed all of these really cool bosses with cool mechanics and stuff. Then they just instantly fall over before they do anything.
Mhm.
So that kind of, yeah, it defeats the object.
That's how I felt with Act 4 bosses. I literally, I was very powerful in Act 4, and even though the designs were awesome, man, they fell over so fast, and I didn't get to see anything except for those two bosses in the city area. Oh, the Arastas. I actually got to do those mechanics, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I wonder what the other bosses did. I got to find out in the end game in this new patch, but yeah, I totally agree with you there, Dreamcore. On point.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what they're going for with the 0.3.1 changes, where
Right.
they have powerful map bosses and then normal map bosses, right? They want the normal map
Yes.
bosses to be more relaxed. Like, you
Yeah.
get to the boss, you might kill it quite quickly, but it's still like a goal on the map to actually do that, to complete the map.
Yes.
But then you get to powerful map bosses, and they're more of a challenge, more interesting. You actually do get to see mechanics. That's probably what they're going for. But
Great distinction, because you're right. I think T15 regular map bosses, I think it was like 3 million hit points, and it was still like 20, for me, like 20 seconds. So for you, it would probably be instant, right? Powerful map bosses definitely had a big difference there. I also wanted to touch on, too, at the beginning of the pod, I think a lot of you said once 031 came out, Endgame just felt weird or off or I'm kind of curious, why do you think that is? Because I've seen that sentiment actually a lot, especially in the comments of my latest video. A lot of people were talking about, yeah, once 031 came out, like the end game, it just, something was funky with it. People are pointing to like loot felt different. Some people don't like the bosses every map. Obviously, the big rare monster icon debacle, we haven't even touched on that. I don't know what you guys are in favor of or against.
yeah.
But what really put you off from the end game? I'm curious. Or was it just time? It was like a month into the patch. So maybe you were just done with the patch. I don't know.
I think it was that half the Atlas was like pre-juiced in a way that didn't feel replicatable. So you would run maps with like legacy juice, at least for me, where it's like, oh, this map was like really cool, but like once it's done, I can't do it again. So even if I get something good, I don't know. It's almost weirdly felt like kind of like almost cheating in a weird way. So I played it for like a couple of days, then I re-rolled into a private league. So I don't know what the other guys felt about it.
I haven't played much of 0.3.1. I didn't really. By that point, I kind of felt like I was done with the league, and I think I also kind of want to reserve judgment on those changes, because I think that we haven't seen everything yet. Like, I think they wanted to get these changes in to get some like cool feedback, but there's going to be a lot of other things coming in 0.4 that they want to add to that to kind of get the full experience. So I think I'd just rather wait to to see what they're planning for
just,
that.
Just poking in, I totally agree. Even though I really like the changes, I want to see how it feels from like start of progression all the way through. Because now every map's going to have a boss. You're going to run into the powerful map boss. How's that going to feel on a fresh start character where the economy is in its infancy as well? So there's not a whole bunch of stuff on trade. Ooh, I'm very excited for 0.4 to see how it feels. Sorry, Sirgog, did you have anything to add?
I agree with that. I think a fresh economy will be really, really good to see there. And also, I feel like the legacy juicing elements were a real problem, but there weren't really many good solutions GGG had available to them there. That's just the consequences of making a major change in the middle of a league. Like, it's fine. They probably picked the lesser evil. Otherwise, like, yeah, 031, it feels like 4 steps forward, 3 steps back. Maybe even 2 steps back. Like, it's definitely going in the right direction.
Okay, and I mean, Sirgog, segueing us perfectly into our last Path of Exile 2 topic before we talk about what everybody's really excited to dive into, PoE 3.27. Do you feel, each of you, let's start with Lolcohol, do you feel that with this patch, Path of Exile 2 is moving in a better direction or a worse direction?
Definitely better.
Yeah.
Definitely better.
Yeah.
It feels like it's sort of in the middle of like a bit of an identity crisis where it's like hanging on to the original concept, but every step we take is just like a little bit closer to what worked in PoE 1. So there's like vestiges, but then there's things that they add, and you're like, but this is you said you didn't want to do this, and now there's like so many monsters in this abyss that my computer is crashing. Like, what do you want to do? I don't know, but I mean, I think it's definitely going in the right direction, but we're gonna have to see. I think, like you said, a lot of the changes with 0.3.1 lacked some context. It's like part of something bigger, but it was just like a way to revitalize the game. But it's hopefully a small piece of a bigger puzzle.
Right. Yeah, you could call it PoE 1.5. Nominating Dreamcore for probably one of the best thumbnails I've seen in a long time with the man unveiling, you know, what is it, PoE 2 guy unveiling the PoE 1.5. It's so good. Dude, that thumb is amazing. Maybe I'll put it up on screen right now in post, but it was so good, dude. All right, Dream, what do you think?
So the game's definitely going in the right direction for me personally, because I enjoyed it way more than 0.2, so that's just a big win. I agree with Lolcohol though, because it's definitely a identity crisis going on right now. It feels like especially the 0.3.1 video, right? I watched that video where Jonathan talks about, you know, towers being removed, and that video felt like for the entire 4 minutes, all that Jonathan was saying is, what we did in PoE 1 was better, so we're changing it to that. That is literally what was going on in that video. Like, you know, tower juicing is gone. We're adding in scarabs, which is, you know, just tablets basically. They're scarabs now. You know, we had the same thing with like map modifiers in a previous patch where Mark was talking about on the stream how they tried something new in PoE 2 with the whole downsides on one affix and upsides on the other. Didn't work, so we're just reverting it to the PoE 1 system, you know. Same with map bosses going into every map. All of these things are things that I feel like they tried to do something different and it didn't really work.
Do you guys appreciate that? I appreciate that.
Well, I don't have a problem with it at all because, as I said, I'm having more fun with it.
Right.
But I still firmly believe that I would definitely prefer PoE 2 to be a different game, because I'm still of the opinion that, you know, they made this game, right? They made this separate game. It was always their intention to add it to PoE 1, and they deliberately did not do that because the game was going to be very different, and it definitely started off very different, you know?
Yes.
But now it's just going, now it feels like in years to come, I don't know when it will be, but in years to come, we are going to really feel like we're playing very similar games.
I mean, I
don't know. I still think there's enough things that are separate, like that are big time different. Like
right now,
the whole decision to not balance around extreme player movement speed in Path of Exile 2, opens up a whole bunch of design decisions they can do that they can't do in one.
And honestly, I think somebody just brought it up in chat. I was going to say it, but thank you, Andrew Fan. This was their only opportunity to try really crazy new stuff. Could you imagine them taking away Quicksilvers and not having like and then needing to add like sprint into the game and stuff like that, or just all these radical things? They couldn't do that in PoE 1. So it was their only chance, and they can still try crazy stuff, but I do see the game moving more and more in that direction, as opposed to the very heavy action-oriented, slow combat that honestly I experienced when I first played the game. I was looking at my old footage from when I first played PoE 2 back in March of last year, just a year and a half ago. Oh my God, guys. I got one support gem through the entirety of Act 1, okay? One support. I spent an hour and a half on Draven, right? Oh my, what a different game, guys. Like,
I remember it. I remember my first playthrough. It was,
rough,
yeah. Yep.
rough, right? So
Even 0.1, like looking back at 0.1, the game felt very different. Like just I started a warrior in 0.1, and yeah, it felt the game was brutal, honestly. But there is that like learning curve, obviously. Like you didn't know much about the game, you were getting like crushed by the content, and then even if they don't like make changes to the game, you are going to get much better at it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Agreed. All right, Sirgog, close us out. Yay or nay, better direction for the game?
Like, I like most of the decisions that are being made at the moment to just try things. Sometimes I think they can sometimes jump a bit too far too fast, and I wouldn't mind some of the like. I think in some cases, if they'd gone halfway on some of the changes, that may have been better. And if it wasn't, they could then go the full way later. And sort of the equivalent of when you got to nerf something. Sometimes it's appropriate just to nerf it 80% first try, but sometimes it's better to go, all right, we're going to nerf it 30%, see if it's still hegemonic. If it's not, then we'll leave it at 30%. Maybe even we'll pull it back to 25. And the same sort of thing with changes here. So yeah, that's my thoughts there.
Okay. All right. I'm like a hypocrite. I'm kind of like Dreamcore, wherein I would prefer the two to be pretty distinct, especially because now I'm really feeling that Path of Exile 1 itch. But I played this league so much. I must have enjoyed. I loved it. It was so much fun. I kind of got that Path of Exile 1 feel with the Lolcohol monk blowing up screens of abyss monsters. Got some of those boss fights going on. You had the crafting crave with the chase of the desecration mods. I really enjoyed myself and what they did with this patch, and I'm looking forward to 0.4. I also realized I totally skipped over like literally me inputting any answers to anything we talked about.
I was gonna say, what do you?
It is fine. It is fine. I can
What did you
speed run
hate
it.
the most?
Okay.
Dude, yeah, you can go.
Best, in my opinion, guys. I'm surprised we didn't even talk about it. It's sprinting. I actually like sprinting a lot more than Quicksilver flasks and everything. I feel right now. It just having that extra like input and being able to be strategic about it. And now I know how to weave through everything. I know when I can use sprint, when I can't use sprint during boss fights, and it's always available to me. I just love the way it's implemented now. I thought it was clunky on day one. I'm now a sprint master. It's super fun. Love sprint. The worst thing, I mean, none of you took the cop-out answer. Oh my God, it's the performance of the game. It's so bad, and it's mixed with the visual clarity.
Yes,
guys, I'm
dude.
still crashing. I tried everything. I played on 2K. I played on 1920 1080p. I tried Vulkan. I cleared my cache, shaders, everything. Still crashing to this day. Never crashed before 0.3. FPS tanks when I hit a bit, and I say tank. It goes from 120 to like 60, and that's unacceptable on my rig, okay? I feel so privileged right now. But matched with that, it's just the visual clarity. So it's like performance/visual clarity for me. Because I played Hollow Palm, right? And a lot of my deaths, I feel like they learned in 0.1 to make on-death effects and rare monster affixes that are on-death or ground effects very prominent. That's not the case in 0.3. I've basically died to on-death effects pretty much. I'm not getting one shot. I'm dying to something that I didn't see because it was layered on top of like another visual effect, or it was just buried under an explosion. So with the introduction of Abyss, visual clarity has gone completely into the gutter, even for your non-juice player. I'm Elk and Go, or Elk, Exalt, and Go. Okay? I'm not like, I don't know if you guys have seen Snoobay85. He released a clip of him clearing this map, this Giga Juice map, and it gets like 2 FPS, right? And you can't see anything going on. I don't do that, and I'm still getting like visual clarity issues. That probably means that regular players are as well, and that sucks. I think they need to solve that. What happened to we are going to not have 100 arrows shooting out from your bow in Path of Exile 1? We're going to have 10 arrows with the power of 100. What happened to that? I still think that needs to be shifted. That's my rant. That's the worst part of the game right now, in my opinion.
If you want to see an extreme example of this, Cyane's Temper, I think, is the name of the lineage support gem that gives you +8 projectiles intermittently. Like it's just a better version of Wild Shards.
That's crazy.
Use that in conjunction with a Fireball into an Abyss when it's active, and with Mana Tempest on, and just watch the absolute meltdown as you ignite things.
Oh no!
And you end up with 75 monsters.
Yeah, the igniting is a big problem. Like ignited ground, ignited monsters. I don't know what's going on there, but they need to fix that.
And nobody plays fire skills because
like visual clarity in this game is just completely in the gutter. Like I don't know what they did, but it's bad. Like it's actually terrible.
Want to hear my hot take? Worse than PoE1
and awesome Desecrated Ground.
Oh, it is worse than PoE1, and we're in early access. Like
yes.
we still have the years and years of things to come into the game, and like it's just bad. Like it is actually really bad. Visual clarity is.
I'm so disappointed in that because I still hold on, even though there were blown up packs. I still think there can be a little bit of meaningful combat with some of these rare monsters that have these cool abilities, like the Abyss rares. I think you could have some meaningful combat, but you can't see anything on the ground. Also, running your games, the ground degens on map modifiers. I don't know. This shield ground thing, guys. The worst for melee. I know they reduced it by 66%, but I know there's solutions, but
62% was the number they actually implemented.
62. You know it was bugged for the first week, and they didn't actually change it. Oh my god, I thought it was crazy. I was like, whoa, none of these maps have changed. They all still have tons of stuff. It was bugged.
Oh, okay, all right.
It was bugged.
So I was just wondering. I was like,
no, it's better now.
Same.
It is better now. Lolcohol.
I'll just quickly say something about Chilled Ground. The reason why it feels so bad, and it's also the same with temporal chains in PoE 2, is because we don't have those like movement skills, like blink skills in PoE 2, and that is like the big offset in PoE 1. Like in PoE 1, like your movement speed is slowed by the Chilled Ground and by temporal chains and things, but you just traverse this distance like instantly, and you notice it way less. In PoE 2, you really do notice it because it's
because you can escape it. You can escape
exactly. You can escape it. Yeah, so that is why it has felt so unfun in PoE 2. Like, and temporal change is the same thing.
Are the numbers higher in 2 than 1 as well? It's like 40%.
I believe they are. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Higher. I don't know about that.
Yep.
As Hollow Palm just going like.
Yeah. I think they're higher on both actually. Chilled Ground I think is 15% base, and I think it's 10 in PoE 1.
What?
Actually, no. Chilled Ground has 3. Chilled Ground has 3 tiers in PoE 1, right? 3 different map tiers. It has
that's just
one.
That's just the coverage. Also, you're immune to it as soon as you got you probably are considering purity of elements when your gear sucks, and then when your gear no longer sucks, you're probably immune to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also you're just like you're just blinking over it, right? You have 2 movement speeds in PoE 1, the 2 movement skills in PoE 1. You basically just don't even feel a Chilled Ground mod.
Nah, man, I'm not blinking. I'm leap slamming. I don't ever
leap
play
slamming,
those
shield
blink
charge,
characters.
like shield charge, frost blink, whatever it is.
Flame dash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those numbers feel like a lie. The temp change where it's like 20%, and you're like,
oh,
it's like this isn't 20%. This is like 50. Why are you lying to me?
30 even in white maps.
The base is 30%, but then you can scale it down to like with reduced slow debuffs. But it's still, even if you get to like 10%, it feels like you're slowed by 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just looked on PoE 1. The Chilled Ground is based on map tier, so it's 10% in white maps, 20% in yellow, 30% in reds. In PoE 1.
But by the time you're in reds, you probably have
Yeah, you just don't care about it, and also I mean, yes, like in some situations you can feel it, but most of the time you don't. That's definitely what's causing the sort of pain point in PoE2 is that you always feel it.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
just it's not just that it's. I mean, in PoE2 it did feel like there was too much of it on the map. Like you could see barely any of the actual ground, right? It was just all chilled ground. There's like small patches of normal map.
And you have the tight corridors too. Like a lot of the PoE2 maps, you have just those twisting corridors that you have to walk down. It's like the tier 17 maps in PoE1, if I remember correctly. A lot of those are pretty tight corridors and everything. Like Fortress, a lot of that in PoE2 with chill ground. Oh, like the only ground degen that I remember being pervasive in PoE1, 6 years of playing, skipped last league, was the Searing Exarch altar burning ground. That's the only one that was like, oh god, I gotta watch out for that, right? But any other ground, I didn't even care. I never cared.
Desolation of the Awakener in 17s. That's
Awakener's bad. Also, like
okay.
the ground degens in like
so
the
tiny.
Maven fight,
But even
and the Shaper fight has always felt like pretty impactful. I think you want to know where they are and where to stack them and stuff.
100%. Oh, I meant in maps. You're right. You're right.
Oh yeah.
You're totally right though. That's such.
You notice those things a lot more in hardcore. Like shock ground is the thing. As a softcore player, you're just like, man, whatever. Like who cares? Hardcore, that's like, oh, okay, I need to solve for this. Or
shock ground is
I don't know.
In Path of Exile 1, but you just don't really care because 6 portals.
Exactly. Whereas if you're hardcore, you're like, this is actually a problem. So.
All right. Excellent discussion to round out our Path of Exile 2 talk, guys. Let's hop into, what is it called? Keepers of the Flame, the 3.27 expansion. GGG is, I mean, they're banging out the teasers, and they're hitting hard, okay? That opening one with probably Zesht and these last two, they've been hyping people up. Obviously, we have Asynchronous trade, anything but confirmed, right? For Path of Exile 1, which is very exciting. I am interested, you guys. We have a few topics on here, but you guys are all the Path of Exile 1 players. You know, I'm gonna be a newbie. The Path of Exile 1, this upcoming
You've been
league.
playing PoE1. Come on, dude. Like you missed one league. You still know a lot about the game.
Yeah, but I'm like, not to, like a tourist now. Like I've missed a league. So now I'm coming back in. I mean, that's what I'm gonna get a lot of crap, okay? Because I skipped last league, okay? And I was like, man, I don't know if I'll ever play PoE1 again. And Dreamcore was like, I bet you'll play again. And I'm getting that desire, dude. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh man, I'm excited to play. This looks so good. So I'm curious.
To be fair, missing a league is a big deal.
It is.
The last time I missed a league, and this one will date me, like those of you that are Australian will recognize this name, but those of you that aren't might need to look it up. The last time that I missed a league in Path of Exile 1, the Prime Minister of my country was Julia Gillard.
Nope. Okay.
If you have a look to see that she was out in 2013.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Wow. 2013.
Yeah.
See,
I was
crazy.
31 the last time I missed a league.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. See, it is a big deal, dude. Like, I never thought I would do that. I don't know. I think it was like a mix of like burnout and PoE2 and everything. And I was just like, I'm not feeling it. I bet if I would have pushed maybe one more act, Chris would have got me. Not Chris. Mark.
A
Mark would have got me.
lot of people skipped 3.26. You look at the player numbers. There was a big chunk of players that didn't come back for 3.26 compared to 3.25. I think that if they continuously do these 4-month releases, they will start getting some of those players back.
Yeah.
Because I think that 11-month break did break a lot of trust with some players. They were there, they were hooked in the cycle, and then suddenly like there's nothing. Well, I'm just going to go and do something else, right? I'm not going to come back. So
Async is going to do a huge deal for that as well.
Yes.
Like there'll be a lot of lapsed players that are like, oh, okay, finally, I don't need to deal with, depending upon how far in the game they were, I either don't need to deal with bad faith listers or I don't need to deal with TFT anymore or whatever. Leave aside, you probably do still want to use TFT for a whole bunch of reasons because there's going to be a lot of scams when it comes to the asynchronous trading, but it's still going to be the case that people are going to feel that's not needed now.
I think it's going to take a bit of time, and then PoE1 might have a big resurgence because it's like, I don't know if you've seen those TV shows where it's like The Wire or Parks and Rec or something where someone's like, man, I've tried to watch it like twice. I just can't get past like the second episode. And then one day they try it for like a third time and they're like, this is the greatest show of all time. It is just like the best. And it finally clicks with them. And I've noticed that with a lot of PoE1 players where and I think it even happened to me like way back in the day where I tried it and I was like, yeah, it's like, it's pretty cool, but like I didn't really keep playing. And then you come back and you try again. It's like a little bit better. And then I don't know, one day it just all locks in and you're just like, oh no, this is my life now. And I think that's probably going to happen. Maybe people will skip, like they'll play a little bit of 3.27, a little bit of 3.28, and then 3.29. There's going to be like 100,000 people who are just like dangerously addicted to PoE1. So that's what I'm hoping.
The whole things that take a while to click immediately made me reach for the Cradle book series, which is a bit...
Is that like one of those where it's you try read the first chapter, kind of don't get it?
Book one just has the main character not around very interesting other characters for most of it, and then like the main character is just a mirror. If he's around more interesting people than himself, he becomes really interesting, and he's not in the first three quarters of the first book, and then they introduce Yara and she's much more interesting, and then in the second book they introduce Ethan and everything gets going, and it's
third
obviously
book. Oh my god, what is this?
That's what PoE1 is. It's that. It's like the sardines of the ARP genre. It's like you don't really like it, but you tried enough.
It got me on the first try. I played for like 12 hours straight. Yeah. It was the only game. So I'm Dota 2, DDO, Guild Wars 2. I've told the story on the pod before. You know, I log on 9 p.m., start a witch. I look at my clock. It's 6 a.m. and I'm like, oh my god, what the heck just happened? This is crazy. I only got to like, I think like Act 3 or something, and I looked over. Freaking hooked me. That has not happened any other game since. Okay, no other game. And that was without, no content. I was just playing. It was fun.
I think for 3.27, they're actually like, this is very deliberate that they're going for a league that is trying to get those players back. So, like a bit of kind of meta gaming maybe, but they're doing so. It is actually all but confirmed at this point that this is a Breach rework, not a new Breach themed league, because in the most recent teaser, the Atlas tree was shown off, and all of the Breach wheels are gone, right? So all of the Breach clusters on the Atlas tree are gone, which would suggest that this is going to be like Breach renewed. And obviously, when they add a new league mechanic to the game, and it's not core yet, they don't actually put stuff on the Atlas tree. They stopped doing that. They did it for a little while. Then they decided that wasn't very good. Yeah, they did it in Necropolis, and exactly. So that was really bad.
God.
So I think what they're doing here is they're trying to like they're taking the opportunity to, and I think this is actually a great idea for PoE1 because there's so many mechanics. It's a really good idea to kind of go back and review older mechanics that have not dated too well. I mean, like the Breach Lord fights are just bad. I'm sorry, they're really outdated at this point. Breach in map is actually okay. It's been okay for a while. Like people like it for juicing and things like that. But I think the idea of them going back on a sort of fan favorite league of Breach, like people like Breach, it's very symbolic with the game. And kind of renewing it, like revitalizing it and modernizing it is actually a really great idea. And I think that it will net some older players that didn't come back for 3.26.
Yeah. And it also looks very PoE 2y. Do you see that logo? It looks very like crisp.
Oh yeah.
And PoE 2.
Awesome. The hands making it up is so creepy.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna port like a whole bunch of the PoE2 Breach monsters into
That's
PoE1. That's totally gonna. Oh, but you just say talking about the bosses for Breach and the chance that they revamp them. I just got like, when you have that, you're at the top of a roller coaster and you go down like that first hill and your stomach like drop. I just had that moment thinking about doing a Crucible. I haven't done a Maven's Crucible in like over a year. I love Maven's Crucibles. They're so cool. Can you imagine like a brand new Maven's Crucible with the 4 new Breach bosses? If we get 4 new Breach, like that'll be sick.
Oh,
that'll be so
like
sick. Like actual
that
bosses.
one was hard already.
It was. It's the hardest. It's the hardest one. in my opinion. But
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah,
It's
no.
at least comparable to the feared. Elder
Ash,
Slayers
that guy.
sometimes depends on your build, but sometimes Elder Slayers is worse. Sometimes hidden, sometimes feared.
I always had so much trouble
Yeah.
with the hidden. Ash always got Ash, the snowball guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Tull is
god.
the snowballs.
Oh, Toll is the snow. God.
Oh, is it
Ash is the
Toll?
one with
Sorry.
the
Cold damage.
topple
Ash is
Nova.
lightning.
Oh, the Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing with Ash is the thing that makes Ash so rude is that Ash has the flicker strike ability that is like this really hard to dodge through skill.
Yes. Yes. I always
So
died that one.
you have Tull providing area control with the Snowball Swarm. You have Zoth providing debuff to player projectiles by just putting something in the way of them. Ulnatol doing that. You have Zoth not doing very much of anything.
Yeah.
And then you've got Esh providing really dangerous DPS that is hard to dodge through just... It's hard to outskill. You have to have high enough stats to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one where I pay for 6 portals. I'm using 6 portals pretty much every time, no matter my character. Okay, so for 3.27, to kind of zone in on a few certain topics here, man, we already got some big confirmations for changes coming to the game, quality of life changes, like with async trade, passive skill reset, all that stuff. What do each of you think would be the most substantial change to come with 3.27? Path of Exile 1. You guys have any ideas that stand out? I could go first. Maybe?
Yeah, you give it go.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'm gonna steal. Who am I stealing? I'm gonna steal Sirgog's. They could rework the assassin, so the assassin isn't crap. I've watched enough Sirgog videos. I know it's been in the gutter for a long time. I've never played an assassin. I've played almost all the ascendancies. Never an assassin. It's just never really appealed. So maybe they'll finally take the opportunity to go ahead and do some actual ascendancy changes, because I think Dream, your video mentioned they're going to focus a lot on character balance as opposed to content, which is also what makes me feel like, okay, they're going to port a lot of PoE 2 stuff to PoE 1, maybe have some hype new breach mechanics interplaying, but not focusing a lot on the actual, okay, new boss fights, new content pieces, right? I think if they touched up, 2 to 4 ascendancies, kind of like they were on that train for a while before PoE 2 came out, I think that'd be pretty dang awesome. Everybody's usually pretty hyped up about that. You try the new ascendancy classes. Some of them fail. Some of them become super busted, either immediately or a little bit into the league. I remember, was it Chieftain that was slept on when it was reworked? And then it ended up being ridiculously strong a little bit into the league. I might be wrong about that. But yeah.
Nobody knew about the...
Chieftain looked good.
Yeah, people didn't know about the area of effect on Hinakura.
That's what it was, and that one.
We just looked at looked at that node and was like, well, that's just one explosion for big damage, but it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And then the explosion had larger base area of effect compared to normal explosion. So
yeah,
there is an element of that, but there's also the fact that you can propagate it way better than people think of, because I think a lot of people don't understand ignite mechanics in PoE 1. And they think that Beric's Respite does the same thing with different numbers as the Exarch Implicit, and they don't realize just how well those two work together.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The number of people, the number of people using Beric's Respite. I mean, I guess you also get the pseudo prolif on Abrath's Hooves, but no one uses that. It's worse than Beric's Respite. The number of people using Beric's Respite is way too low. It should be much higher.
Yeah, it's such a great item. I mean, Ignite in general, I've been playing RF on League Star for so long now. I can't actually remember. I just play on League Star most leagues because it just feels amazing. And the moment when you actually get Ignite Pro, because Chieftain is there's these particular stages in the campaign where that you just feel amazing, right? The first lab, you just don't care about resistances anymore. Then you get the explode node, and that feels amazing. But then after the explode node is also getting the ignite proliferation to make the explode node actually feel good. Because at one point it's exploding, packs, and then you have monsters running in, but they're sort of stragglers. Then you're waiting for RF to clear it up, but it's that ignite prolif which is doing all the work.
Yep. And the interaction between prolif and pseudo prolif, where you can get, you can just be a wave of death that is sort of propagating 15 meters ahead of you.
Yeah. That in really juiced maps is just incredible.
I remember watching your Tota videos, Dreamcore, and seeing the chieftain like destroy your PC. I remember like it was. I vividly remember it was crazy, like just seeing the Hinocorus explosions going wild and like City Square. I think was the big farm of that league. Everybody was playing City Square. So
Yeah.
okay, what do you guys
Toxic
think?
Sewer for that build.
Oh, Toxic Sewer. Yeah, also that might be my favorite PoE1 map, Toxic Sewer.
Oh, so fun.
I
On the
love
right
Toxic
build.
Sewer, yeah.
So
Man,
good.
Yeah.
I think
look at us.
Dream's video, I hope comes true because the ramifications of a massive balance pass are just so extensive. It's not just new skills that are exciting. It also means different ascendancies are appealing. It means that different uniques are appealing. Different crafts are going to be profitable or interesting. We might be doing new crafts that we haven't done. Like influence modifiers are now relevant. Other content might be more relevant because the meta revolves, like these are builds that excel at XYZ. So the chain reaction of obliterating the meta and completely changing it is so exciting because it affects every single aspect of the game. And the other thing that's really fun about it is just the chaos of people not really knowing what's the best and what's the worst, and going into the league and like omega lulling because someone's like 2.3% inefficient because the game is sort of like ultra solved. Like we might actually have a PoE league start without drama. Can you imagine? I mean, it's not going to happen.
No,
but
no, that's not gonna happen.
Oh, that's dead.
But maybe people will be like, oh, I can't believe this guy's going. I don't know. It's always stupid, but you know what I mean.
Warden.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Warden sucks.
Yeah, it's like what?
Terrible.
Playing Warden, so bad. Bows and arrows, so bad. Like,
Okay, I got
It's
fed
so
a
silly.
Snoobe clip last night. Did you guys know he got 2 mirrors of Kalandra in one map? Oh my god!
and he called it.
He called the second mirror.
one.
He was like, "Oh wow, just got a mirror. I bet I'm gonna get a second." And it just dings right in front of him.
the
just saw that
MF
last night.
Messiah confirmed.
Yeah, literally Messiah. Oh god. Yeah, that's
Just going back to the question there. I agree with Lolcohol because with PoE1, unlike PoE2, it doesn't feel like the game is like missing a lot of things per se, right? The game's like whole. It has all these things in place. You got to remember that PoE1 is like, especially now with how they're developing it, they're targeting that player base that is already there rather than like new players. So a big balance patch is actually just one of the most impactful things, like hands down, because most of the people that play PoE1 are loving that aspect of the game. They've been playing the game for years and years. They love the whole like build craft and all the possibilities and things like that. Like I'm one of them, you know. I wouldn't be playing this game if that didn't exist. And in the time since patch 317 going onwards, there was a lot of leagues where they just didn't do any balance or almost no balance. Like I remember like the balance section of patch notes would be like 4 bullet points or something like that. It was painful. Like going into a league knowing what is already going to be good is actually really not a great feeling at the beginning of a PoE1 league. So I would love to see just a massive shake-up of balance. Like, give me a giant list of patch notes. I don't know what the hell's going on, right? I just want to go into the league. Like, I want to have that exciting week before a league launch where you can go into someone's stream and they're just like theory crafting some absolutely random build. You go into the next person's stream and they're thinking about something entirely different, right? And then someone else is trying to work out how this thing would interact with that. And there's so much like anticipation for like the league launch and what's going to be good, and we've missed that a little bit in some of the more recent leagues. So yeah, I really want a big overhaul, and I think that would be the biggest thing for the general player base of PoE1.
I agree, but I do want to say one thing. I am not doing anything remotely experimental in a world with asynchronous trade, because in a world with asynchronous trade, he who gets to tier 17s and 16.5s on day 2 is going to be monumentally more advantaged than they are right now. And as a result, yes, sure, I know how to catch up in an economy, but it's easier not to need to, and I'm going to go with something that feels tried and tested. I don't necessarily need to be doing tier 17 bosses. Maybe it'll be 16.5s, but I want to be doing something that feels very, very, very safe early on. And I want to have an Atlas plan that feels safe, and I want to be very careful not trying to overshoot and go for things that I think are now absolutely only absolute top elite players only. For example, ROG. I have lost the ability to do ROG because I can't get to Eternal Lab in 5 hours. And therefore, I'm going to be behind. By the time that I can get to ROG, the market's going to be flooded. If you're slower than me, then, which I think many people will be, then you're even further behind. So don't even consider ROG.
What is this crap? I have Halloween. I'm taking my kids trick-or-treating. I'm going to be so slow. If I could start immediately, I'd be right up there with you, Sirgog. 100%.
Yeah, I think there's going to be this thing where being first is going to have a bigger advantage than it's had before asynchronous trade. And that's going to be a real shock to the system for people.
Okay, you sent a message yesterday saying that asynchronous trade will give people the ability to bully casual players even more so out of the economy than before. Could you give me a rundown? Okay, so I'll give you my perspective as some. Okay, I'm not a casual. Okay, but I think I have a casual mentality. Okay, I don't like. I elk and go. I just chill with the trade site. I list items, right? And I usually sell quite a bit of stuff and make currency and everything, but I'm not like playing the trade game. Did you mean people playing the trade game will be bullied out of it? Or do you just mean like casual players are going to have a very tough time in PoE1 now with asynchronous trade being added, selling items, crafting items, all that? What did you mean by that, Gog?
Okay, so when I'm talking about a casual player here, I'm talking about people who, if they would get their 4th Void Stone later in the first week, right? That's the tier of player I'm referring to here.
That's me. Go for it.
So you're not getting it day 1, you're not getting it day 2, but you would get it in the first week. These players currently sell items. They sell rare items because the best couple of % of rare items do, they will ID a few things that are lucky drops. They'll ID more things than a truly casual player would. And so they're going to find a few really lucky drops. They're then going to turn around and sell them. That's going to give them an injection of currency that's going to jump them forward in the economy.
Right.
What is going to happen now is that those people are going to be buried under the weight of the people who got to ROG at T plus 10 hours, the people who are sending off substantial King's March shipments at T plus 13 hours, and are starting to flood the market. Those people who get to Eternal Lab on day 2 and Void Stones on day 5, those people are going to be so far behind that they're not going to be selling things. At the same time, they're also going to find things cheaper to buy, because nowadays things that wouldn't get sold, like let's say that Cold Iron Point is reasonably good this league. Let's say one streamer suggests using it, and it's a 15C unique, which is plausible. Like that's the power level of the item. It can easily be 15C in the first week. In 326, Fubgun's running a tier 17. 22 Cold Iron Points drop. How many does he loot? 0. It's not on his loot filter. In 327, how many does he loot? He loots 22 of them, and he throws them all into asynchronous trade, because he can do that and just put them in at 15C each, and that's worth his time. He wouldn't portal out for a 15C sale, but he will do it this way. And so Fubgun's going to be able to crush people like me. I'm going to be able to crush the casual player that gets to Void Stones on day 5, in terms of selling power. Now, selling power is not everything. You will loot currency. So I'm not trying to doom and gloom this. I want to just be clear.
Yeah.
I want to be clear that this is going to have nasty consequences. That's the reason it hasn't happened yet, is because it is going to really mess things up, and especially when it comes to crafting. Crafting is going to be an absolute money pit, as is bossing, unless you know exactly what you're doing.
No, it just clicked in my head. Thank you for explaining that. I totally understand. So essentially by the time, I'm actually getting items worthwhile at sale, the better players are going to have mass produced so many that are better than me, right? That nobody's even going to pick up I guess. Okay, I got it. Crap. Oh,
I have 320, and by the time I get my first one, Fubgun has 320 of them.
Oh, freaking Fubgun. Come on, what the hell, man? Oh.
Dude, the worst part is that for Europe and South Africa, it's like the league, if I'm lucky, will drop at 9 p.m.
Come on.
Most of the time it's 10 p.m. And then it's like waiting in the queue a bit, a couple of crashes.
Lolcohol.
I get to play like an hour and a half, and then it's bedtime. And then I wake up 12 hours into the league,
No.
and I don't know. How do I do it?
Do what I
All-nighter.
did. Drink energy
12 for
drinks.
24.
Just drink energy
Dude.
drinks. That's what I'm
Drink
doing
energy
now.
drink.
That's what I'm doing.
Stay up all night.
How do you think that I'm actually doing stuff now? Like energy
don't
drinks.
know.
That I am sacrificing my health temporarily.
He's on drugs.
I'm literally lots of caffeine, guys. That's how I've been able to do it.
Okay.
Try it. Get the healthy ones. Healthy.
I just stay up. Dude, I haven't stayed up 24 hours since I was like 18, 19. I feel like I'm taking. I don't know. I feel like I'm tripping the next day.
You get a
where
second wind.
if I don't
That's
sleep
lovely.
enough.
Get that second wind, man.
Huh?
You get a second wind.
Aren't you like only 30?
30, almost 35. But sleep.
Oh my god! What?
The
I'm
thing is, when
43.
I'm
I
28.
say-
but
What is this?
I can't do bad sleep. If my sleep gets messed up, my entire fucking life falls apart. So
I'm too old to do double all-nighters anymore, but I can certainly do a single.
double? No, I
And
can't.
I'm 8 years older than you. You weren't even.
I know.
You weren't even, yeah.
maybe I'll try it.
go
Maybe
on.
I'll give it a shot. If I can, how can I financially incentivize not sleeping?
Just do a subathon, man. Right? Is that
Subathon,
what people
okay.
do?
So you do the whole what do you call it? Promos for subscriptions.
Yeah.
MPX.
True. No, but
Everyone
I
says
literally
what streamers want is a streamer client that rigs RNG in your favor. No, we don't.
Right.
What we want
Right.
is an MTX that would like that.
yeah, that is so good. That is so helpful.
right.
Please, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like a personality thing.
Got it. Okay. Now I need to know, Dreamcore. How old are you? I don't actually know.
33.
50. What the heck? I thought you were like my age. What?
You're the youth.
I'm the young one. Holy crap. Oh my god, that's crazy. Okay.
Okay,
Interesting.
clearly, I need to stay up. Okay, there's other people in chat who agree. There's people who are like only 25 and they need their sleep, and then there's people who are like in their 60s and they're like, I can stay up all night.
Stay up all night. Stay up all
To
night.
be fair, it was something big
And
with
like
people
ultimately, if
calling
it's
it
gonna have like a
Well-
really bad effect on you, you should probably just keep your sleep schedule right. Like
That's the thing. I think it's like if I play a couple of hours, I go to sleep, I wake up fresh, beautiful, and then I play the whole day. I wake up at like 8. I'm on streaming by 9. I stream till like 9 p.m. What's the difference? But
Well-
now Sirgog has made me scared. He's like, you need to be in maps. You need to be in maps in like 4 hours and selling a ROG. I'm like, oh
You're done.
no.
What do you so I assume you're going to be going expedition and everything. Is that the league start strat for the pro gamers? I personally always go for harvest. I like being a humble farmer and just farming up that yellow juice.
harvest feels so bad early though. It's just
I like
going early harvest just feels awful. It's just
Why?
harvest is one of those mechanics where it's like in the late game it can feel really rewarding when you're
Okay.
able to actually properly juice it up. But early on it just feels like I think expedition just feels
Better.
it's just such a good mechanic early on.
Okay.
You can get you can get currency that you need. You can get potential items that you need. Bases like there's just a lot of things you get from expedition is like the catch all mechanic basically in early game.
Yeah. See?
Or Legion if your build is suited to it.
Yeah,
Legion.
Legion's good. Yeah, Legion has like a really good not currency, like a loot split. Like you just get a lot of very useful things from Legion.
Geomancer's incubators early. Like
Yeah,
you either sell them as is or you just use them, and especially with async, if you get a premium base off them, you can then either Exarch, implicit it, then Fractured Fossil it. And if you don't get something that's premium, then you can just either list it as it is, or you can just throw one Ember and one Ichor on it and sell it in that configuration. And a Deafening Essence Agreed always.
yeah.
Oh man, getting 6 link. Oh, gotta do gem socketing again. Oh my gosh. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. Okay. Wow, I just realized. Get back in that mindset. It's gonna be good. Okay.
Six Link, if you know what you're doing, I'm going to do a guide for Mobalytics on this when we get the PoE1 stuff up. But there's a bunch of things that are really accessible. It's just that they're not that obvious. Like people think, oh, you apply an Orb of Fusing to an item. That's the logical thing to do.
Oh no, never,
No.
never.
Going back to the assassin real quick, just very quickly. So I got a video coming out later today with some
Ooh.
predictions for the patch.
Ooh.
And one thing that I think might be really interesting with the assassin, I thought about this a bit. They might just replace the assassin. I was thinking they're doing a breach themed league. What if they replace the assassin with something similar to the acolyte of Chayula, like an acolyte which is themed around like, you know, because I mean, assassin is already in that kind of sphere of like poison chaos kind of thing. They wouldn't really be changing it all too much if they were doing something, you know, something kind of Chayula chaos themed. It could just be called the Acolyte in PoE 1, right? It doesn't need to be called the Acolyte of Chayula because obviously they have. Although it does seem like with this patch coming in that they're kind of progressing the breach story in a way, maybe. And it might be that they might even retcon some of the stuff that they already had in the game. So
Yeah.
I don't know, like maybe from this point onwards, like Chayula will be seen as like an ally to you know.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know.
Maybe that's
Or
who's
is someone-
talking. Isn't Chayula a girl? Am I wrong about that? Like it's like a female.
I also
creature?
think it's a girl,
Three-
but
That's
just
the-
because it's pink.
Isn't
Three of the breaches are
Chayula
girls.
Envy?
Tul, Ash, and Ulnatal are all females.
Oh,
Ulnatal
wait,
female.
what?
Ulnatal
Ulnatal,
female. I
Ash,
thought
and
Chayula was just ungendered.
Oh, I thought maybe
I don't know
Chayula
about
was.
Chayula.
I thought Chayula was doing the narration because I don't recognize that voice. I'm thinking it's one of the Breach Lords if it's a Breach theme thing.
I thought Chayula and Zoth were both male, and the other three are female.
Well,
That
dang.
once someone gave me some evidence that Chayula was not.
It could be, yeah, it could be.
All right, Dreamcore lore video tomorrow. Today you have your predictions. Tomorrow it's the okay. Here are the genders of each Breach Lord. 10-minute video. Oh my god. Okay. That man, Dream, isn't that the what if it's so cool in PoE 1 because it's kind of not great in PoE 2, but they do that and it's like actually pretty sick in PoE 1.
Well, they added this law right in PoE 2 that we didn't know about
Right.
Chayula like
Dreamer.
helping the races back long time before PoE 1. So that kind of changes things a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know really whether they're going to like retcon some of the stuff that happened in PoE 1 or whether they're going to build on it. I'm not really sure.
Well, the patch is called Keepers of the Flame as well, and I think the Cult of the Purple Flame in PoE 2 were the Val who worshipped Chayula. So I wonder if the Keepers of the Flame are like the descendants of that cult. It's like the modern day versions. It's like the Templars. It's another faction that's going to be added. It'll be really interesting to see. I hope it's a little bit of a fresh story. I also don't know what happened with Zana in Secrets of the Atlas. So I'm like going in blind. I'm pretty hyped about that. It's going to be good. It's going to be really
dies.
Fun. What? She dies?
Huh?
She
I don't know.
dies. No way she dies.
I wasn't paying attention.
Nah.
You're gonna have to find out now.
No.
Singing the song Stacey's mum, but changed to Zana.
Don't spoil it for me. Mark said it
You
was
have
a
to play now.
it was a multi-league setup.
Yeah,
Well,
so part 2 is the funeral, and then we'll have
wow.
the wake. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna you just have to get it. And the lore, okay, look, like I'm not a big lore guy, but it seemed cool.
Oh, it did? Oh,
It seemed like if you're a lore person, you'll dig it.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
The time that you kill a third incarnation, there is a cool story scene.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
See, Boss Fight's blind too. I think I watched Ben kill one of them for the race event, and then I was like, I don't want to see anything else. I'm going in blind, so that'll be fun.
These are easy. These
Oh, they're
bosses.
easy?
You might be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they buff them this patch because a lot of people were complaining that they were too easy. So you might have a different experience to everybody else that played them in 3.2.6.
Are they supposed to
I
be
don't know what they
equivalent
Who they're
to?
talking about?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know who they're targeted at. Like they're probably about comparable in difficulty to the level 83 Elder fight at the moment. I feel all three of them.
Oh.
Except one of them is a lot more complex than the level 83 Elder fight. But none of them are harder than that, and they're not very mechanically well. The mechanics,
one is a bit
very challenging,
Interesting.
and they're very forgiving numerically.
Interesting.
The way that like the Shaper is easy mechanically, but very unforgiving numerically.
Right.
When you get there, this is quite different. You can make mistakes.
Interesting approach and design. Okay, well, I hope they're buffed up. I want to be punished by these guys a little bit.
Well, surely we'll have the Uber version of this patch.
Yeah,
You think so?
they may just make the
I
Uber
think so,
versions
yeah.
hard.
Okay. Okay, speaking on things that might change with the existing game. All right, Breach. If it's Breach 2.0, what are they going to do? Like, how are they going to actually change? Are they going to fundamentally change the way Breach works with the hands opening and closing? Are they going to add another layer to it? Is this just going to be touching Breach stones? And because those are kind of boring. What do you guys think?
So I think it is going to be like Breach renewed. I think that they're going to keep the mechanic the same because it's a good mechanic. And
Yeah.
They don't want to remove that mechanic from the game because, as I said before, the actual mapping mechanic of Breach, even though like the league is old, the in-map mechanic is good. It's just that the Breach stones have become very outdated, especially the boss fights were just really not great anymore. So I think they're going to have the exact same mechanic. I think we're going to see the same Breach hand mechanic where the circle's going outwards, spawning more and more monsters. But the monsters in the breaches are now going to be like unique to breaches rather than being like reskinned, different monsters like they had before. I think they're going to use the PoE2 assets for that. And then I'm not convinced that they're going to do. They might do new Breach Lord fights. But they might also just, as I was saying, like with the lore, they might like retcon things, and we might actually just have Zesht, right? That might be like the kind of pinnacle encounter that they're going for there. I'm not sure if they did. I mean, they have said so something that I believe that when they added Breach to PoE2, like they're not too happy with it, right? And there's a few other mechanics that they're not too happy with either. So perhaps they want to add the Breach Lords to PoE2 at some point, like, and have the story play out that, like, before they became Zesht.
Yeah.
Which would mean that they would have, like, a reason to create those models for both games then.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be, because I get the impression now we're at the phase where we have these, like, 4-month cycle. They kind of want to make assets that they can potentially use in both games, because they want to be really efficient with what they're making, right? And that we're already seeing them doing that with a lot of things. With the incarnation bosses, they did that, right? We had Kulamak is reused asset from the incarnation of Dread. We've also had the incarnation of Neglect, which is a boss that's reused from the cleansed maps. That's the rare boss that spawns that guarantees a fractured orb.
Oh.
I think the incarnation of Fear we haven't seen in PoE2 yet, but my guess is that's an Act 5 or 6 boss.
Isn't that Zarok?
That we just haven't seen.
Is that Zarok? I thought I saw Zarok as one of the incarnations. Am I wrong about that? Like the Final Floor Sanctum or Sekima model guy? No? Maybe I'm wrong.
Zarok.
Zarok. Sorry, Zarok. Yeah, oops. Maybe I'm wrong.
He does look, actually, now you're saying it, he does look very similar. I don't think that's the same model.
It's not,
I know for a fact that
that's the one I saw.
The cleansed, I know for a fact that when you cleanse an area on the Atlas,
yep.
right, there can be a rare boss spawn that guarantees a fracturing orb.
Yeah, yep.
That guy is the exact same model as the incarnation of Neglect.
Okay.
Just slightly recolored.
Right.
Which is the same as the incarnation of Dread, right? It's purple in PoE1, it's green in PoE2 for Kulamak.
There you go.
So I think the idea of them reusing assets between the game is very smart. What I'm getting at there is that if they're going to do the Breach Laws in PoE1, it's probably because they want to update Breach in PoE2 and also like do something there. So
well, they actually said, I think it was in one of the talks with Ziggy, that they have all the Breach Lord, like, because they want to have multiple bosses between Initial and Zesht in PoE2. They have the models, they just haven't implemented the fights. So maybe
that to me would suggest that we are going to get new Breach Lord fights.
There you go.
In PoE1, because that this would be when else would it be added, right? It would be this league where they're reinventing Breach. So
yeah,
awesome.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Yeah,
I'm
me
hyped
too.
to log in.
Yeah,
I
can't wait.
I'm feeling it. Next Thursday is going to be so good.
Yeah.
I had one question for you guys too. I know in 3.27 they removed memory maps, right, from the game. And I'm sorry, not memory maps. The memory mechanic from the game, right? So like maps being overrun by certain mechanics like breach total maps. I think those only exist with Hirak now. Like you can get them as maps. I wonder if they'll do something like that, like maybe breach specific whole domain, like maps, You know, where it's like overrun with breach monsters, or it's overrun with lots of breach hand stuff like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. I really like that in PoE 2 with the Abyss overrun maps. I think those are some of the most fun encounters in the game, especially if you juice them up with desecrated map modifiers too. Like those are cool. Maybe they'll do something like that, like a little bit of
100%.
expansion, like Scourge maps from the past, Blast of the Past, guys. Scourge, yeah. I
Yeah.
miss
I
Scourge.
wonder if you could also conceivably do that in one with a mythic rarity Scarab. So a Scarab that's the same rarity as Horn Scarab of most of the Horn Scarabs are mythic.
Yeah.
Like Horn Scarab of Glittering is a classic example of a mythic rare Scarab.
Yeah.
You have something that's that rarity, you could conceivably have it make the area overrun by breach monsters.
Right.
It's no more crazy than Horn Scarab of Pandemonium is.
Okay. All right, you guys. We all believe that the patch is going to have a huge shakeup in terms of balance, or that's what we're hoping at least. What build archetype are you guys excited to play? And Dream, you can't say Righteous Fire because, come on, what's your second build going to be? What are you guys excited to play in PoE 1 this league? Without patch notes, okay?
I mean, dude, if it's Breach, then I'm actually just playing Righteous. There's just no way, right? Like, RF Chieftain is just amazing in Breach. It's amazing in Legion. Like, I love playing Legion almost every league. So if Breach is going to be in every map, and then I can spec into Legion, like, right off the bat, that is just going to be amazing. Oh my god, that is so good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Breach will be in every map if it's the league mechanic. Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
in
that'll
every
be
map.
that's true. Oh my god.
It's there's no way they just do like Breach, man. It's got to be something crazy. GGG,
Well,
the one thing they do better than anything is surprise everyone, and something comes out of left field, and you're like, what? Like,
do you think they
every
would
time
remove Breach though, like from the game?
Well, I mean, it's not
hand.
on the Atlas tree.
What if they combine? What if they like do like the hand, but maybe you also like enter a subdomain, like the Wildwood or something, the Viridian Wildwood. You know, I don't know.
Maybe it could be something like that. The fact that it's not on the Atlas tree indicates that is it getting replaced with something?
I think it's replaced. Yeah, I think
it's getting replaced.
And the thing is, if it's replaced, then they don't want to mess it up, because if they mess it up, people will be saying, "Well, you just removed this good mechanic and replaced it with something garbage," right? So that's why I kind of get the impression that it's actually going to be like a renewed version of Breach, like modernized but the same mechanic.
Maybe. I don't know why. I've got a feeling that there is going to be Reddit is going to be on fire this league because they're going to do drastic
Isn't it always?
It's going to be like Lake of Calandra tier chaos, where it's just like they're going to nerf stuff and they're going to buff stuff, and people are going to have like meltdowns before reading the whole patch notes and not having the full context, and they're going to like make something insanely strong, but no one cares because like they nerfed Righteous Fire by 4.3%. And like Breach is gone, and then there's gonna be mayhem. But a week into league, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, this is the best league ever." That's my prediction.
Angry Reddit posts make for excellent like centerpieces on thumbnails of videos. I find that people really love YouTube people love seeing Reddit people mad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I think Where's the Loot is going to be all over Reddit. And the loot is still going to be there. It's just that your loot filter is going to be hiding it because asynchronous trade has made it worthless. I think there's going to be a lot of that. People are going to be like, oh, I got an Aegis Aurora and it's 4C. What's going on? And the answer is asynchronous trade is what's going on. And, you know, like, yeah, this is the bad that comes with the good of async trade. And also the good of just being able to trade into an Aegis for 4C if you want. So I think Reddit is going to be on fire in a way that we haven't seen, again, since Lake of Calandra. I'm also going to be really boring and answer your question, Try. I'm going to say I want to play something that spreads ignites using Beric's Respite and Glove Implicit. And it will probably be Chieftain Righteous Fire.
Oh my god. Lolcohol save us.
Depending on how Elementalist Ignite Eviscerate survives, I may do that again.
Okay.
I want the patch to be so drastic that 30% of the play base is playing Winter Orb, just because it looks cool. But it's gonna be like Chaos dot Ignite Proliferation Chaos Orb. I mean Winter Orb, but it's actually good.
Interesting. Okay.
It's just going to be something stupid that no one considers, like double strike. Everyone's playing double strike. I don't know. That's what I want.
Yes, double strike
Melee
superiority.
double strike ignite, spreading with
Yeah.
very fight and.
But that's actually good.
Yes. Go. Oh,
What about you,
Okay.
Night
Cry?
Flag would be cool if they were good.
me, I have
Yeah.
2 that I would want to play, and they're both repeat builds, but I'm feeling them from the past, and they're both berserkers actually. I think they'd still work on the berserker ascendancy. I got to take a look. My 2 favorite builds that I've ever played in PoE1 are Rage of Cleave Berserker during Affliction League, but it was busted because of the charms and the way you could regenerate rage. Oh, it was just crazy. It was awesome, super fun. And the other, also to do with rage, Rage Vortex Berserker. So right now I'm thinking, okay, Cleave of Rage, probably going to be rough. Rage Vortex, though, that's basically like a more active totem playstyle, and I think it looks way cooler. So I think I might try Rage Vortex. I think it was Void Forge. Rage Vortex is what I played, and it was so much fun. It was one of my most powerful builds ever. So, but I might go with one of those 2. We'll see how they go. Yeah, fingers crossed. I know. So.
One thing I wanted to mention just quickly on speaking of asynchronous trade, I'm probably going to play hardcore trade this league. I usually play SSF in like hardcore SSF in PoE1, but I just want to mention for asynchronous trade in hardcore, there's this really interesting thing going on. Which what happens in hardcore usually is right. Someone plays like however many characters they're going to play for the league. At some point, they die and then they're done with the league. There's just going to be this, and obviously in softcore this is happening as well with listings staying active all the time. But in hardcore, especially, the economy is just like so brutal with things like disappearing and not being accessible. It's really going to make such a huge improvement to this. Like someone dies and quits the league, and all of their stuff is still listed for trade. That is actually just going to be amazing. There's also this thing that happens in hardcore trade where the mechanics that are not very popular, there's sometimes like only one guy doing it, right? There's actually like the blight guy that farms the oils for the entire server, right? Or like there's heist man, right?
Really?
Heist man, and he just like farms the heist uniques for everyone.
Wow.
So the idea that guy could die and quit the league, and then suddenly there's no supply. Just having all those things active on the trade site is just incredible. Like that's going to be an amazing improvement. It's going to definitely improve the longevity of hardcore trade.
Yeah.
So
it's improved the longevity of just regular PoE2 trade as well. I've noticed, like, as just slowly playing still a little bit, it's just so nice to have accessible gear still listed because people are like creeping up their prices and everything. And there aren't people that are on there buying out all the mid-tier gear that is upgrades for myself. So that's been really nice. And to have that happen in PoE1 as well, it's probably going to be really chill.
That's like amazing that someone can jump into a league like halfway through the league and just play the game as if like nothing, they can just progress like normal. Like there's always going to be those options for them to buy those things because they're just always listed. It's great.
Yeah,
that's going to be awesome. That thing is, I mean, it's, if you're trying to sell stuff, it's going to be terrible, but if you're trying to buy stuff, it's going to be amazing. And that's the big change. This is going to crush the economic power of sellers in favor of buyers, which, depending upon the type of player you are, this could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's going to make it harder to climb, though, from being a 20 Diviner League player to a 500 Diviner League player, because the way that you used to do that was by getting good at selling stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be really beneficial for most players, but like the like upper middle tier players are going to be possibly.
Oh yeah, you guys are going to be warring. You're going to be warring with the FUB guns, and oh yeah.
No. I don't know what Sirgog was describing. Kind of sounds like me. Like day 2, 3 stones.
If you get to the final lab on day 5, then this is all upside. If you get to your 4th void stone on day 5, this is going to be sort of mostly upside, but with some drawbacks. If you do your 10th tier 17 on day 5, then this is going to be quite bad. And if you do your 10th 17 on day 1, then this is going to be a bonanza. It's going to be the best patch ever.
I'm more like day 3 on that, maybe.
It'll be in between.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
And like I'm calling out 17s, but 16.5s count. They're just less than 117 because they're quicker and they're a bit smaller.
Yeah, I'm a T17's day 14 to 15 kind of guy, I think. Honestly. I think.
I
But
think most people are. Like,
yeah,
there's the pool of people that get there really fast. It's not a huge section of the player base, but they're disproportionately economically powerful.
buyer's paradise. Sounds exciting. Sounds like I'm going to have a blast starting after trick-or-treating. Okay, you guys, to close out the pod, I think it would be really cool. There's a lot of people, I think, who still have not tried Path of Exile 1, judging from the comments on my videos, that have played PoE 2. Now, to those people, do you guys have any renewed or updated messaging to kind of entice them to give 3.27 a go, as opposed to just skipping out and refusing to play it? Just yes.
I'm writing a guide on PoE 2 Players Guide to PoE 1. I know Sirgog's also working on something, but the number one biggest piece of advice is don't think that you need to know everything immediately. Like, don't assume that just because you see something that it is like the most important thing, and don't, rather focus on what you are doing instead of what you're not doing, because there's going to be 100 things you aren't doing, and don't let that ruin your experience. Just focus on like, oh, expedition's cool, I'm gonna do expedition and play Righteous Fire and do that, and that is enough. That's plenty. You can have a great experience just doing that. Don't worry about everything else. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Great piece of advice. Living proof right here. So
Yeah.
it's true.
That is really good. That is really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I would say just kind of give it a chance, right? Because it's like you have PoE 2 has a lot of really good onboarding and sort of teaches you some of the systems. Some of them differ slightly in PoE 1, but the basics are there, the core mechanics. There are some things that may irritate you a bit with PoE 1 compared to PoE 2, like, for example, the sockets, links, colors, that sort of thing. But generally speaking, I think if you give the game a shot, you are probably going to enjoy it if you also enjoy PoE 2. Because it's generally, as we said, I mean, PoE 2 is going in the same direction. So I think if you liked 0.3, you're probably gonna enjoy the game. It's a great game, but it can be very overwhelming. Just like Lolcohol said there, just don't let it overwhelm you. Basically, just you don't need to know. Like, even the most experienced players are learning new things every league, loads of new things actually. Right? Like, I'm learning things about the game when I'm playing every league. So there's always more there to learn about, but you don't need to know everything to have a good time, right? You just give it a shot.
Very true.
Yeah, I would say learn one slice of the game really, really well once you get to endgame. You don't need to, until endgame, double in everything. And until you're like, when I say endgame, like until you feel like you have finished, until you feel like you've graduated past white tier maps, just double in everything. Play around, find things you find are fun, and then pick something that calls to you and specialize in it. Research it and specialize in it. The other little tip I would give to Path of Exile 2 players is that whilst Exalted Orbs are not tremendously valuable in Path of Exile 1, they are staggeringly rare. You're not going to get many of them, so don't expect to use many of them. Just fritter away the ones that you get, and then use them once you have a bit of a sense as to... once you feel like you can replace them. They're as rare as Divine Orbs. They're not as valuable as Divines, but they're as rare as Divines.
I echo the same sentiment as all of you guys, just taking the game as it goes. That's the best way to play it. Like, you'll encounter so many different mechanics, but you don't have to, like I think all of you have said, you don't have to learn everything there is about them. You can just enjoy them. Just like in the moment, just like, oh, cool. There's a breach in like in Act 2 area, there's a Legion in Act 1. You're like encountering all these different mechanics very intentionally from the developers at this point, and it's really fun. You can just take the game as an experience. You can worry about learning all the systems in the end game if it really grasps you. Just playing through the acts and having a good time. That's what you should really focus on. I think that's why it really hooked me. I just went in pretty much blind, made my own build, and took it as it came. Didn't compare myself to other players. Had a blast. So give it a go. And like Dream said, if you enjoyed this PoE 2 League, you will probably like Path of Exile 1. Just give it a go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you don't, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Come back to it and try again, and maybe try again, and then there is a moment that where it all clicks.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense. But it is sort of like saying like, bro, you should really watch One Piece, and you're like, what? And then you go look, and it's like there are I don't know, like 2,000 episodes, and you're just like, there's no way. Like I can't. They're just like just watch the first episode, okay, and then watch the second episode and the third episode, and maybe you'll like it, maybe you don't, but maybe you love it, and then you're like, amazing, there's 1,000 episodes. Where it's the same with PoE1. It's like instead of saying like, oh no, there's 36 different things, be like, play one thing and then be like, oh my goodness, there's 35 other things. Like, this is the best. I can see myself playing this game for like thousands of hours. And that's why people do. Because there are so many things and they're constantly changing, and it's so exciting.
And hey, Grinding Gear Games, they seem committed to this 4-month cadence now between leagues for PoE1 and PoE2. So does not seem like either game is going to get abandoned, and it's constantly going to be changing. And these are usually pretty major additions or shakeups. So if you don't click with 3.27, like I didn't click with 3.26, you can give it a go in another 4 months, and maybe you'll vibe with that league. Find a build that you really enjoy. I also find that you really need to find a character or like archetype that you enjoy. Like your build obviously is a huge determinative factor whether or not you're going to enjoy a league. I'm talking about like Cleave of Rage and Rage Vortex. I loved those. Those are like my fondest memories with Path of Exile 1. That's why I'm going to give them a go. It's just like why you guys are playing Righteous Fire. God.
And a harmony between a character build and an Atlas strategy, that like once you're in endgame is the key thing. So like, for instance, people have mentioned liking Expedition here. If I'm playing Expedition, I'm definitely going to pick something that has explosions and ignite proliferation through them, or something else that just happens to be good at Expedition, like what's the name of that bow skill? Elemental Hit of the Spectrum with the attack mastery for ignore block. I'm going to play one of those two setups if I'm playing Expedition.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice as well.
Another good piece of advice is don't be scared to follow a build guide or something like that. And if you do follow a build guide, just play RF and you'll be good. Follow RF, play it. It's guaranteed a good time. But also, if you go in blind, go in blind. But I think that there's like a lot of stigma of like, oh, you should go in blind. Like, it might be better to actually say follow a build guide on your first build.
I actually think the time to go in blind is now. During the dying days of 326. It is really fun. That unguided playthrough is really fun. But do it now, and then when 327 lands, then follow a build guide. But for the moment, just go and make your own mistakes. Have fun.
This is something I fight with people on. The purity of going into games blind, I think, it's lost on people nowadays. I don't know. I'm writing a script about it right now. Just about not just about Path of Exile 1, Path of Exile 2, but just like all games. Like Hades 2, I just went into and I played it all blind. I had a few of my friends who said like, no, I like looked up like what all the bosses did, like what are the best boons to get, and I'm like, what the
really?
What are you doing? Like, why are people like this? What has happened? I'm literally doing research. I'm like, what has happened with gamers that they feel the need to be spoon-fed how to play games on new releases? What has happened with our mind? Like, I feel like it's just such a fundamental shift in us being curious about things and losing that. I mean, that's a whole different topic, but
tell you where I think that comes from.
Yeah,
it's progression-based games where the start of the game is terribly boring, like World of Warcraft. If you play World of Warcraft and you punch through that first zone and you don't quit the game, I'm talking the human zone, and then you're not going to want to do it again.
Okay. I get that.
I think there's also the fact that those things actually exist now. Like back in the day, like all of this information didn't exist at your fingertips. You just didn't have like you could have there were written guides that you could get, like actual physical book like guides for games, right? You guys remember those, right? So you could actually buy those and read them if you wanted to. I don't know how popular they were in terms of like the demographic, how many people actually bought those compared to the game being sold. But obviously nowadays it's like you can just get access to this information instantly just by searching for it. So I think that has played like a pretty big role in that as well. But yeah,
I think some people have fun when they're winning, and some people have fun when they're kind of like learning and discovering, which involves a lot of failure, where it's learning from your mistakes. But some people they hate that. Like games of Counter-Strike, it's way more obvious in competitive games where you've got those people where personality types just show up immediately. Where there's me playing IO with Dagon and like teleporting on dudes and zapping them, and I'm having the best time even if I'm losing. And then there's the guy shouting at you who's like, "What are you doing?
Yeah,
like
but-
we need to win."
But why would you ever do that? You idiot. Lolcohol. IO
Dude,
Dagon?
it
What are you
ruled.
doing,
It was
dude?
so good.
My
It was
God.
so good. But I was having fun. I was
Well,
having fun.
IO Dagon. What? He's not even a strength. He's a strength hero, man. What
It
the?
was so good.
Oh, come on. Oh,
So good.
Sounds terrible.
it does sound so bad.
But how fun does it sound? You just like teleporting on some dude on the other side of the map. Bzz,
Were you
dead.
tethered to like a Skywrath mage or something? How are you
Yeah,
killing this? How are you killing this hero with a Dagon just on IO? I
I'll
don't
Were,
know.
show
were
you.
you the kind of person that also like tethered your ally and teleported them into enemy fountain?
Friends, okay?
Oh, my-
Not just allies.
Dang. Gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
man. I checked.
I don't know.
Last time I played Dota, December 2022. Wow.
Damn, I must check myself.
I know.
Yeah, mine was somewhere around there. It was
Yeah.
when it was basically around the time I started playing PoE was when I like completely fell off Dota. I played
Yes.
like I have over 10,000 hours in Dota on Steam.
Wow. You okay?
Damn.
6K here. I thought I was a 10K boy, but I'm only 6,000.
I played from like the
Zero.
very beginning. I got a beta key when there was like 2,000 players.
Oh,
and I played I played Dota 1 like a lot back in the day, back in custom maps for Warcraft.
I'm a noob. Started late. Okay. Well, does anybody have any closing thoughts on either PoE 2 or Keepers of the Flame? Anything else, you guys? Big smiles.
Just log in.
Just log
Just
in.
log-
There you
Just
go.
log. It's
Just
gonna be
log in.
it's gonna be great. Just log in.
Yeah,
Like,
guys.
big balance.
Big balance.
Log in.
It launches October 31st, which is Halloween here in the United States. The big reveal is next Thursday, the 24th. I hope I got that date right. It's going to be a fun time. Thank you all so much for watching on Twitch and YouTube Live. And if you're in the VOD right now and you made it this far, props to you. You're in the 30% who watched to the end of some of these podcasts. Leave a comment below, like the video, go check out all these fellow creators, and make sure to check out their guides on Mobalytics for Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 1 starting this league. Have a great one. Bye, everybody. Fun wave as I fade to
Bye,
black.
everybody.
All right, thank you guys.